It was saying no connection on YouTube for a little bit. Let's see if it's going now. It might be, it might not. Yeah, it's going now. Proper, okay. It's fine. This isn't worth the care or effort. I'm not sure why it isn't showing anything, though. There we go. There we go! Take Blake after I talked with her, blah blah blah, to use my semblance. Ash looked at him before she nodded, something dark glooming in those eyes, blah blah blah. I will return with her shortly, or with her swiftly. Lady Saffron, your bed has been made, as requested. I have sent Master John's slaves to his room. The jewelsmith has delivered the custom orders that you had commissioned earlier this morning. Damn, that's fucking fast. Saffron smiled, a smile that looked a little worse than her usual one. He hoped that she wasn't getting sick. Ash left the room, leaving him with his sisters alone. Nobody really spoke up. Auburn getting up and giving a satisfied little ah! Wait, ah! He hoped that she would be able to keep her urges under control. She was somewhat scary when she did those little experiments. Oh my. Alcohol. I'll go sleep now. Sleep well, Jean. She kissed his cheek and smiled at him, her eyes unfocused for an instant as he hugged her. Displays of affection weren't really a thing much between him and Auburn, but she was still his sister. Ardent excused herself with the little excuse of my work, leaving through the side door as the other house slaves cleared away the dishes that had been in front of them. Blake was dragged in, Ash not having a comfortable grip on the collar. She looked a little angry. Saffron chose to leave at this point. She had a gift to unwrap or something. What? She ordered weird stuff sometimes, not that he'd have much of an idea just what it was. He looked at Blake, her ears flat against her head, her golden eyes looking at him with that desire to be rebellious. Her pale skin was unmarred, and she had been freshly bathed. He saw that. It was enough to make him want to do things. Christ on a bike, this guy is a pervert.
All it takes is somebody taking a bath.
Like, holy shit, yeah, if she was still in the shower, maybe, but fuck. This lowly one has brought this slave before you, Master Jean. Ash's eyes had changed color, though he saw that Camellia had not noticed that. She might have remarked on it, or might not have. Ask your question, this lowly one will ensure that the slave provides them. This is so stupid. My Lord Almighty. Why do you guys make me read this?
Because it's amazing to see you in pain.
Why? Why do you enjoy this? Why do you enjoy doing this to me?
I don't know. You have such great reactions.
Why?
I can just hear your soul, your fucking joy just getting slowly just ebbing away as you continue to speak.
Is it just me noticing more and more Curia sounds less like a human and more like a dark elder? You know, I don't know why I'm getting such joy from torturing you, but your screams of despair are so delicious.
Well, I did say me and Corn would be best friends, so.
Oh, no, it'd be
Corn
fucking
Corn is like quick and bloody. You're full on Slaneshi. You enjoy that fucking pain. Like, yes, scream for me more, Daddy Kitty.
You're a fucking pain slut. You know it.
I think we're all pain sluts here except for you. You can take like fucking that kind of pain like a graham cracker.
Yes, I have a high pain tolerance. I know. Thank you for telling me.
No, you don't.
Graham
I was
crackers
saying
are
that you have the
intolerant.
fucking you have the fucking
Cap.
pain tolerance of a graham cracker. You crumble at the fucking first sign of resistance.
Graham crackers don't have pain receptors. They can't feel pain. They're inanimate objects. If you're going to insult me, at least construct it properly using a proper analogy. Christ.
Look, you're like rice.
So, really hard until I get wet?
Exactly.
Oh, my lord. Okay. Ask your questions the slow for the slave provides them. Blake, forced to her knees, looked at him with her defiant eyes burning as gold. There was so much resistance in those eyes, though it would be the best for the best of her. He didn't want to lose her. Excuse me. Oh god, I got another one coming. Where is the tiger? Blake spoke, her voice confident and with a surety that she knew the proper information. Camellia noting it all down. The eyes that had been cool were now frozen as the woman bit her lower lip, her sister's gaze not slipping from Blake. Describe her personality for me. Blake spoke, glorifying the woman as an unbreakable spirit, one who loved the faunus and all that they stood for. All the words stopped. Camellia merely looking at her eyes with eyes that were starting to theorize on stuff. She was making her plans. What do you know about the ox? More words came, speaking of what she had been taught. Horrible things describing the torture of humans who had fallen to their hands. The joy that she felt when she had killed, it was horrible to see her speak, and so she did. And so did her eyes show. She had cared more than she had for those who had died thanks to that mad quest. The ox has a sister. A frown on the girl's face as she repeated that. A twin sister, even having given up her liberty. Camelia's face did not look pleasant. There was a look.
Kitty, I'm going to shove my fist up your ass.
Someone made an egregious mess on party occasion.
Yeah, you aren't gonna be making it on America's Next Top Idol, so stop fucking trying.
Oh no, I'm doing this just to harm you.
I mean,
It's only hurting Courier, not me.
And he's the one who's making me read this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's his punishment. And you just get to be along for the ride.
You did it too.
Master Jean, Master Jean, with your permission, Ash spoke, looking at him. Ask her whether she would devote herself to you. The woman seemed insistent as he looked down at Blake. She looked fearful for some reason, still kneeling. Will you devote yourself to me?
No.
A tremor that went through her as her head bowed. Wait. A tremor went through her as her head bowed. The expression of the fondest girl's face was wretched. He could see as she exhaled slowly. Ash's hands gripped the collar a little tighter, jerking it a little. Yes. Her voice was tiny, almost like a squeak from a mouse. Ash's smile broadened marginally. There was an answer now, a response that had been given. Oh, Lord. It makes it marginally interesting.
For you, maybe.
Blake Belladonna was doomed as soon as the crocodile mentioned that he asked her whether she would devote herself to him. She knew all was doomed. Devoting yourself to someone meant to hold them in higher esteem than one's own parents, usually only reserved for the four. Her treacherous whimper of yes was like an admission as she looked at her owner. He was not a bad-looking human, and neither had he treated her wholly unfairly. An image of velvet scarlatina came to her mind. How did she know her last name?
Plot hole. Is that a plot hole? Actually, never mind. I'm not
Yes.
going back and reading to fucking figure out if she mentioned her last name.
She
so.
did not. She only mentioned her first name, Velvet. Her ears cut off and her tongue cut out. It would have been her. It could have been her. Mute and silent forever. Abused for simply being born a faunus. It wasn't right to be enslaved. It wasn't proper for a faunus to be in chains, whilst humans remained free. In some part deep inside her, she knew that perhaps it was better than the alternative. She had seen the monstrous look in the ox's eyes and had decided that this was not what she had wanted for herself.
Really, you seem pretty sure of it at the time.
This was not the path that she wished to walk. Yeah, she doesn't want it now that he decided he wanted somebody else instead of her.
Yeah, and now that he has no penis.
Yeah, now he's got no dick, there's no value there.
Classic woman, am I right, lads?
Yeah.
No wealth, no cock, no value. Subjugation with no chance for release or submission and a possible life. He smiled at her, she smiled back at him, mimicking him. Grab her throat. It's time to show her the truth. The woman spoke while her inhuman eyes looked down at her as a cold bony hand grabbed the collar around her throat. The faunus woman's hand joining the other woman's as a whitish glow suffused them both. What would your revolution look like? The question was asked, and she... The burial fields were a place of solitude as she slowly paced over them. The last graves were dedicated to those few who had resisted. Another revolution of those who had resisted the latest purge. Another momentary freedom for those who had not accepted the yoke. Those who rejected their traits were traitors to their kind, and they had to be enslaved. It was what the humans had done to them and what they had done to the humans. Now at the age of 85, she had 9 grandchildren. A small amount. There was no freshness in their bloodline. So few still left with the ability to breathe. What?
What now?
It had been a slow and wasting sickness, the final redoubt of humanity. A single canister had rendered vale infertile, from which the
Deployed
bug
a
had
bioweapon.
spread.
Oh my God.
Infertility for a race that often bore multiple children was a death knell.
Well,
And
the
won,
uniform.
but at what price? At what price had she suffered herself to the people that she had once so loved so dearly?
It's literally, if you're reading it at that pace, it's literally, I'm just saying, it's gonna take us like 4 hours to get it through this chapter.
Oh my lord. She could still vaguely recall the Declaration of Independence of that moment when the ox had called for the war to start and the tiger had dedicated her white fang to the cause. The aberrations had been the first to be sent into battle, those who held traits that were a throwback to things of the past before the four. Inhuman, malformed faunus who are sickening with their base traits shape. No hydra or other faunus with the aberrant traits would be allowed to live as they had preferred the pure animal nature with a taint, the ox had declared. But none but the normal animals would be allowed, as those two fantastical were merely symbols of the sickness of their kind. Sickness that had to be eradicated before it spread, the ox had said. It was a funeral for many, a battlefield that now still was littered with the bones of those who could not be buried. Those graves had at least been filled with the bodies of those brave soldiers, but she herself did not really see much valor in it. The statues of the four stood at the gates of the new city that they had built, but the four were now only one. Only the tiger remained, a queen of her own making, aged yet fierce. She had sworn the oath to eradicate mankind, even though there were no confirmed humans left. So total fucking mass extinction.
Mm-hmm. But torture and fucking slavery first, and then genocide. Yeah.
You'd think
What's
that
the
they just
point?
use the humans to produce more faunus, but okay.
No, because they're fucking. Everybody's evil. Fuck everyone.
Isn't the faunus rate a dominating one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by then they would. At that point, what's the fucking point of breeding them? Like with the royalty?
There is no point, I guess. If they fucking deployed a bioweapon that rendered them infertile, you think everybody would have died out also as well.
Anyways.
I guess Boris fucking fucking heard me and threw a vial of FEV down at them or something. I don't fucking know.
They needed humanity in a manner of speaking. It had been long since that she had seen the image of the man who had been there to be her first master, but it had been a somewhat pleasant time. She had worn clothing and had food, not these rags. The dear Faunus, who had been her fellow slave, had taken down many of the people who had come for them, but she had been declared a traitor. Blake herself didn't know. Those eyes had faded once the young man had been put to death for his existence, as she had bitten her tongue to join him in death. She had cared for her fellow Faunus's great fate briefly, but the ox had called for her to join the ranks once more. She had wanted to fight for her freedom, to make sure that humanity suffered for their imprisonment in the chains that bound them. Now she only had the ashes with her of her own past. Sentence structure, please fix it. The burden of something that she had caused herself. She had been freed from her shackles, yet the sins of her grandfather were still held against her. Belladonna the Betrayer, her nickname had been as well. Several of the loyalist factions had seen the first of the purges, and they had not agreed. The Ox had ordered them to serve or be repurposed. With this freedom, was she truly free? Was it just the sins of the past that haunted her in this fading graveyard of bodies past?
Past? Hey, past. You get the past of the past? Past.
Look, I want to pass over.
Alright, Carrie, you ready to pass over?
Maybe. At this rate, maybe.
Pass over the past of the past, so you can get back to the past and play some games that suck ass.
But only if I can gaze in the eyes of the eyes of the eyes of the eyes. Of the eyes of
With a
the eyes.
With a look that looked the look of the look.
With a look that looked a look. Yep, right.
Oh, look, that looked like a look.
Look,
was so
I think
confused by that for a second.
you don't understand what you think you understand.
Look, I don't know what you think you know, but you don't know what I think you don't know.
Yeah, I made that as a joke. This guy's there writing like this.
Anyways.
That reminds me of the what was it? Oh yeah, I don't even have time to explain why I don't even have time to explain.
She didn't know. Blake Belladonna was next on the list to be executed by the Grand Authority in the 7th month after that revelation, simply for the crime of being related to the one who had harmed the prestige of the Far. It was the new order of things, as the Faunus had won their freedom and brought a semblance of order to their world after destroying humanity. To change one oppressor for another was the height of madness. They did not know what they had done, nor would they know when the Grim came.
The Grim are just thrown into the story for the sake of us remembering it's Ruby.
They're a plot hole. Or they're a plot device that's not even used very often.
They're a plot hole that's a plot device.
They're
It's
a
also
plot-
used as a plot device.
Exactly. It's used as a, hey, remember, this is the world of Ruby.
Hey, remember, guys, they're the threat. They're a real threat. Those wolves and bears, man.
They're
Whoa.
monsters. Come on, they're
Look, they
monsters.
appear once in a blue moon and do nothing. What the fuck are they a threat?
Just like the show.
Yep.
They appear for a jump scare and then vanish.
No, not even a jump scare. You're fucking. That's insulting to jump scares.
She gasped, her breathing harsh as the vision burned into her mind as Ash looked down at her. The truth, Blake Belladonna, it cuts, it bites. That is your revolution in there. There will be nobody left of those brave ones who took up arms to fight for their rights. Stabbed in the back by those who are willing to seize power. Camellia, let me take over. I will hand you full control back. She didn't know what to do. She hadn't been prepared for this. She had just admitted that she wished to devote herself to the man in order to... A vision of what has been the truth that has been hidden from many. And please, somebody else take it. My throat's starting to hurt.
I'll fuck it. That's what happens if you keep fucking trying to sing and whatever the
No,
fuck
the
you're
singing
trying to
hurts
do.
less.
That just reading it?
Look, it
Yes.
hurts his. Well, the singing hurts his soul less, but his throat more.
No, I know how to sing properly, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, if you
I
call
sing
that
with
proper,
my
sure.
if you call,
diaphragm, not with my throat.
If you call that proper
Yeah, that's
singing,
where you
then
make it
may God
falsetto.
have mercy on
Yeah,
your
sure.
soul.
Oh no, I can sing properly too.
Yeah, sure, whatever you say there.
Yeah, what do you say?
Fine, I
I
guess I'll
wanted to do a-
fucking take over. Son
I
of a
want to do
bitch.
karaoke at some point with you guys.
Fine, whatever.
Oh,
I'll fucking take over.
Okay.
Hold on, let me just clear my throat.
Cough, 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 cough.
Well, at least I muted my mic, so. The stage had been prepared for them. She stood in the crowd, watching how they were led up on the stage. Proud Ao Goang, with his train of feathers unfurled, fully stood as the symbol to the resistance. His eyes calm and with that dignity that he had been afforded. Ao by whatever that name is, stupid Chinese name he probably made up or read up in a book, stood at his side, the carapace that he'd had as a trait covering his stomach, a simple
LBC.
loincloth. What'd you say?
LBC.
LBC. LBC.
Chinaman.
LBC, my aboho. A simple loincloth was all that was afforded to him as he looked out over the crowd. Genghis Khan also stood there. Hi there, Genghis. How you doing? His dark skin marked with the mark. His dark skin marked with the marks of battle. Really, I thought it'd been marked with the marks of a mark. Okay. No. His dark skin was marked with the marks of Karl Marx. There we go.
He was marked with the Deutschmark.
He was marked with the Deutschmark. Yeah.
I am so confused. What the fuck? When did this become a history lesson?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I didn't. No, literally.
Look, this is the
literally,
strange moment when Hekiskat is not rating someone.
literally,
So,
it's
let's take it.
literally it's just because this author fucking confuses historical shit with just ripping historical things off. Because get it, her name is Sienna Khan. And he's Genghis Khan. Get it? Oh, so funny.
Also Adolf Schmittler. Don't forget him.
Oh, that's much later on. Yeah. His eyes indomitable as he spoke to the burning blood of war, the tail that curled behind him half amputated, the tuft having been gone with only a stump remaining, and the last, Oxford Taurus, a tall man who stood there like a bastion of knowledge, a hue-red beard growing from his chin, there to be the sage advisor to the other four. She tried to say something as the four knelt at the signal of one of the humans standing there. They had their dignity, they had their strength. She didn't want to see this. This was the past. This was the humiliation of their kind, their species. They looked out at the crowd with resolute eyes. The blade was being raised. It was time for the last words. It is as it must be. We have lost. Let my voice be silenced. Do not forget that we can only speak with our hearts open, lest we fall to hate and division. Well, good luck there. The blade
Like-
came down. Hate and division. The blade came down first, the head bouncing onto the ground. Oxford Taurus had fallen. The voice had gone quiet for the faunus. My strength was insufficient. May we atone through our endurance. There is no shame in having been bested by one with the superior show of tactics. Let my failure be a lesson to those who come after me that strength alone does not grant victory. Genghis Khan's head bounced next, the strength of the faunus having been shattered by the blade of the humans. Executed like a common animal, a shockwave ran through the people. As long as we hold true to our people, we will never shatter. To the truth of this world, I dedicate my words. May you never see that in truth we are not different in the slightest, human or faunist. We are all here on this world and we can love each other. Abase raised his head proudly, looking at the world with proud eyes. The blade that bore down on his neck severed it, the look on that face never changing. It was the truth to him, as the faces of the crowd showed their shock and horror. And so, even the heart must remain tamed. I have given my love for my people. We are slaves to our nature. As four lie silent now, remember that we are alike, humans and faunus. Victory lays within peace and coexistence. Ao Guang's head hit the ground next. The heart had been shattered and broken, his last words echoing. People were crying now as the bodies shivered and shuddered. Of the people. Okay, I thought you meant the fucking people who just got their heads cut off. I'm like, that's a little weird. Blake stood there, watching the headless bodies as the faunus in the crowd were broken and shattered, their human overlord starting to lead them away. It was only a tall man who stood there on the stage, staring. That's fucking retarded. Standing there at the bodies, a tall man at his side, suddenly as if drawn from the shadows, a long panther's tail swishing behind him. Dark hair and similar facial features to her father stared at the bodies that laid there, his eyes gazing at the heads that had rolled away from their bodies. And so, I must slip within the shadows of my death. It was for my people. Her grandfather, the man who had been called a traitor, looking at the bodies of the four and receiving the sword from the tall blonde man. A moment of peace as the man raised his head to the skies. And so, I draw my last breath. Survived by my child, Gira, and none else, I drift into shadows. May history record me as the traitor that I am, for the world will never know my sacrifice. The man's body sank to its knees, allowing a moment of reprieve before the tall blonde man took a few steps away. The blade entered the man's gut and then twisted, a groan of agony coming from the man. She watched, suddenly aware that she was standing next to the older faunus woman. The woman looked at the death of the man, agonizing over the sword in his gut. He is literally committing seppuku. Awesome.
Sudoku.
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 Sudoku. Fucking whatever it's called.
It's seppuku, but I'm making a joke of Sudoku.
Seppuku, harakiri. But yeah, Sudoku is the best one.
Your grandfather betrayed the four in order to spare you the future that he had foreseen. A clever man, he was. He had the foresight to investigate events. Oh, somebody actually fucking investigating shit? No. Wow. Holy
Incredible.
shit. Shit
That's
dick
too
balls.
much.
Fucking amazing. The world has not seen much of his like in the past decades. Yeah, fucking no shit. Hollowed
Gee whiz.
words. Hollow words as the woman looked at her, almost casually so. It's as if this was just a really bad dream, a nightmare, as she felt the existential dread settle in. She had watched them die. She had watched the pillars of the faunus die. They shall have no king nor queen, nor will one king rule when four are united. The words of an ancient poem, the first poem for many to hear. She had heard it as well, Adam having been fond of reading it to her. It had felt like so long ago, yet was still sudden. They shall not strike against those others, as their voice and heart speak true. So shall the strength and the truth never rear their talons against those other than they. A morose look on the woman's face as she looked at her. If it would have been any other way, Blake Belladonna, there would be equality between faunus and humanity. There would be the freedom that you so desperately crave. But the agonizing sound of her grandfather, still in the process of dying through ritual suicide, drew her from her thoughts as the man cried out. The blad man pulled the sword out and stabbed down right through the chest. Okay, never mind. The blade was pulled... That is not how fucking swords work. The blade was pulled out and the head separated from the torso.
What?
So you stab someone in the chest, and when you pull the blade out, their head pops off with it? What?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to write is that he pulls it out and then decapitates him, but that makes no sense either, because then he pulls it out from the front, flips it, stabs into the back, pulls it out again, and then chops his head off, which also makes no sense. Just
That's a fucking Mortal Kombat execution.
Yes, and also you don't need to stab him in the chest. He already stabbed himself in the gut. You do that, you twist it, and you, like, spill your guts out, and then someone decapitates you. That's how it goes. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Yeah, anyway. I have raised many children throughout my lifetime. I have seen many children die, Blake Belladonna. I have seen the world through the visions of the damned, whenever I mix my semblance with that of Camilla. A softness of the woman's tone as she looked at her. She was aware, as her gaze drew back to the stage, a woman approached it, wearing a cowl and moving with soft steps, feet lighter than before. Pale features came into the dim lighting as the blond man looked at the woman and bowed his head slightly. Respect that was so rare back in those days. I devoted myself to my old friend, to serve his family. A wistful tone as the woman ascended the stage where the bodies laid. Blake could see the ritualistic incense. Oh, it's the fucking Mechanicus were there. Already bundled, setting the 5 sticks of incense at a respectful distance. A family.
Respectful distance. Oh, fuck, it's Corona time.
A family who I have watched grow old and die, either through battle or through assassination, because you suck at your job. Children that I have nursed when they were young, dying entirely too soon because you suck at your job. Wistfulness in her tone as the younger version of herself burned the incense. The blonde-haired man standing there at the edge of the platform, watching and waiting. You are misled, child. The voice spoke to you, yet the child who speaks does not speak the words of the heart. He has heard of the words of the ox, yet the bitterness that he has within his heart, the hate against humanity, warps and twists his words. Sorry, I'm just lowering the brightness on my monitor. There we go. She snapped to attention, looking into blue eyes. Her master was kneeling in front of her. His hand was brushing over her head, where the vision had just faded from. Her eyes looking into his own. Camilla, this is... I think you mean that is enough. I need her to be functional. A soft whimper came from her lips as she felt the urge rise inside her, as he looked at her with a gaze that seemed to understand. Other than his sisters, he was kinder
A gaze that seemed to understand instead of just an understanding gaze.
and understanding. Ah, fuck it, whatever. As you wish, little brother. Camilla's voice was soft as the crocodile faunus let go of her collar as well as the faunus management bureau's director.
Albino crocodile faunus.
Yeah.
I will never forget.
Who's actually secretly a turtle.
Yeah, wait, what?
Oh yeah,
I
you
was
missed
gonna
that
say-
part. She's secretly a turtle.
What?
Yeah, they keep saying the albino crocodile. Get fucked. She's actually just fucking. She's basically Master Mugwai from fucking Kung Fu Panda.
She's
Yeah,
she's a turtle.
she's secretly a turtle because the truth is the turtle, the ox is, well, an ox, the tiger is a tiger, and then the fucking heart is, I don't know, a peacock or something. I don't fucking know. Leaving her.
The heart is supposed to be a fucking deer. That's what a heart is. It's a deer. Or
I think they're supposed. No, because the deer is never. No, I think it's supposed to. I don't fucking know. I think they fucking they skimmed through a Chinese article on Chinese or Japanese mythology for like 2 seconds and then fucking wrote this. So
yeah,
it's,
HART, an
it's a
adult
reference
male
to-
deer.
It's a reference to Journey to the West.
Fuck off.
yes. Also, I'm not saying heart as in HART. I'm saying heart as in HEART. Cap.
Oh, that's fucking gay.
Yeah. Leaving her there on her knees. I have work to do. It'll be a late night. So, Ash, watch my brother for me. The woman looked at her with a look of what looking. With what might be a half glare, but the woman nodded. I will make sure that his good pet enjoys his attentions. The blood rushed to her cheeks as she blushed suddenly. Oh, okay, sorry. The blood rushed to her cheeks as she blushed suddenly. I thought I was gonna... Fuck it, whatever. She had gotten an image from somewhere, her body naked and on the bed next to him, blue eyes looking at her with that craving, that desire that she felt from the dough. Ah, but Ash... The woman's look was enough to cow the master. It was surprising to see the faunus being so strict, where the humans ruled over the faunus. No buts. I will not let you out of my sight, John Ark. The glance that the woman gave to her was a warning one. That's not how you say that. She felt the burning of heat in her loins once more. She didn't know what was going to happen, but she's a fucking slut. She staggered into the degenerate sister's room, the push to the back enough. That's another word that needs to fucking... author needs to be banned from ever saying again is enough. The woman on the bed looking almost victorious as the lips slowly were licked. Blake swallowed as the door shut itself, a hand on the collar around her neck. One that belonged to a faunus. It belonged to the dog faunus that served this sick and twisted woman. Hello there, kitty cat. The savage look on Saffron's Ark's face was something else altogether, showing an utter lack of care as the woman got up. Oh, yay, more rape. Between her legs sat something that...
Gotta love rape.
Yeah. Between her legs sat something that she'd been violated with before, something phallic and erect, something that the degenerate scum was going to force into her again. Tara pushed forward, yet she felt too weak to resist. This is just a trial run, my sweet. The voice of Saffron Ark was like a hiss in the half-darkened room. Tara, it's time to get the little kitty shown her proper place. The clothing she wore was stripped off by the traitorous faunus, whose fingers touched in places they should not. A low hiss from her own lips as her nipples were pinched.
Ooh.
She could still see the heads of the four laid there as the memory of the humiliation still played through her mind. The woman languidly sprawled out, that phallus between her legs smoother than the leather one, as Tara forced her down next to the human woman. Being taller... Again, that's not how you format a sentence. Being taller slightly than she was. Being slightly... How hard is that? How hard is that to write? Being slightly taller than she was, instead of being taller slightly than... How hard is that?
It's extremely difficult if you're a bad writer.
Jesus on a You know what? I'm gonna fucking... Where's Microsoft Word? I'm gonna open up a Microsoft Word document, and I'm just gonna see how many fucking error messages I get after this. Christ. Blake was wondering what was going to happen as her hands were shackled in. I feel so tired. Yeah, I do too. The first penetration of her tight pucker was accompanied by a shuddering hiss of pain. Her eyes wide as her rump received a firm slap. You think you're so smart, don't you? You think that you can hurt my family, little kitten. Saffron Ark's voice was low as Tara forced something into her ass. Saffron's tongue sliding over her cheek, a trail of saliva marking her skin. You hurt my little brother. That blonde little doe is going to get what she deserves. A sick shudder went through the woman, something that made Blake feel a dash of pity. Why? Bark, Tara. The bark that came from Tara's mouth was almost like a dog as Blake felt the fake phallus press further in. This is what you are, girl. Nothing but a cat getting mated by a dog. A filthy little animal, a filthy faunus who dared to raise her arm against her owners. You are disliked even by your own kind, your filthy, disgusting kind. She felt the shiver go through her body as the woman trailed a finger over her head, running over her ears with a delicate touch. No, you are not like the little blonde venison slice. Tara, fuck her, do something, you mutt. The pain increased, but Blake just felt wary. She didn't gasp or groan, she just felt pained. They hate me, Her grandfather's face came to her mind once more. The vision of the four and their fate, their words having been different from what she had been told. The dusky-skinned faunus fucked her, as her mistress had commanded. The gasps and shivers of the woman atop her far more pleasure than she felt. It was a punishment for the enjoyment of this woman, but Blake just felt hollow, as do I. You won't hurt him. You won't hurt Master John. The voice of the dog faunus with the clipped ears growled in her ears. As her hips flattened against the bed, her body feeling the heat as she imagined herself hurting the young man who had owned her, who had raped her, and who had... I was wrong. Don't worry. No, you don't realize you're wrong. It'll take you another 40 chapters to realize that again.
Don't worry, you'll change your mind in a few seconds.
Remorse is a difficult emotion for the disgusting animals to understand.
Yes, that's why it takes. That's why after this chapter, I shit you not, it takes another like 40 chapters for her to fucking understand that. And her also getting her arm cut off, but we'll get to that.
That's an escalation.
Yeah. The realization was what hit her as the dog faunus bit down on her neck. She stiffened as the first burst of that orgasm rocked through her nethers. Her eyes looking at the cool blue eyes of the woman, whose lips were pulled back into a smile, a terrible one. She had been wrong about the faunus. Adam, no, the ox had said that was a glorious revolution that they would need. But did that mean killing? Did Mom and Dad not say that peaceful coexistence and slavery might be the best option? Well, I'm sure your fucking father will really support that. They had said that. How could Adam have been wrong? Ilya had been a degenerate as well. She had looked at her with eyes that had held lust, that held a depraved desire within them, as she found herself suddenly raised. A shriek came from her lips as Saffron's Ark's fake phallus inserted itself inside her. Yay, double woman penetration. Yay, 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 woo, woo. The woman's arms wrapping around her. No daydreaming, little kitten. You're a very you're a very naughty animal, Tara. An obedient bark as she felt the canine faunus rut against her. Blake felt worse now, as she felt the violation occur with greater force. The smack of the older woman's hips, the burning inside her increasing as she felt gasps and groans emerge from her mouth unbidedly. She didn't know what to think, she didn't know what to do, and that feeling inside her that she'd just squandered something precious was growing ever stronger. He'd lied to us all. The tiger had not been swayed easily, but then again, she had not been kept by the retainers who had guarded the ox. A solitary existence for most of the time. Sienna Khan had been the firebrand leader who roused them to war. Adam's speeches often calling the desperate and the willing, speaking to the people. I believed him. Slavery was wrong in her mind, but hurting others was worse. Young man who was her owner.
Hurting others is worse than slavery.
Yeah, I know what that fucking standard is.
I was gonna say, let me say something, right? There's a difference between defending yourself and hurting others, and then just genocide. So, I think you mean that's what you mean. Slavery was wrong in her mind, but genocide was worse. So, I don't fucking know.
Unless we're supposed to think that she's mentally 4.
Maybe the author's mentally 4. That would explain it. The young man who was... Oh, yeah. The young man who was her owner, whose sister was currently growling in her ear for her to meow like the little kitty bitch that she was someone that seemed to care, and his other pet too, hair of gold and eyes the color of the fading light of the day, looking at her with that judging look that was so strong that it was unimaginable to see her be part of such a weak and timid faunus race like the deer. Oh yeah, racism. Yay. She got wet at the thought of the girl, the keying meow that came for her throat at the prodding of the degenerate woman, a whimpering moan following. As she saw those eyes looking at her, hands wrapped around the master, it was a feeling of being excluded, a feeling as if she was just the extra, that the master would not like her as much as he liked the blonde. Another meow came from her mouth, feeling the smack to her buttocks, the pain increasing, as terror fucked her harder with that fake cock. For a moment, she wished that she could be the blonde deer, getting that gentle affection rather than this debauched degeneracy. Don't worry, because you'll never do anything to earn his affection, ever. It's a fucking waste of time. She loves him. If Yang got in his good graces, and he ascended to a high level in the government of the kingdom... If I had thought a revolution could solve the issue of my people, I would have done so long ago, you stupid girl. The crocodile faunus looked at her as if she was half struggling to get up after having been dragged through the household. The tension in the old woman's body language showing incredible restraint. She had spoken about what she had done. The woman had forced it out of her. The blonde pet had looked smug, almost too confident, but the woman had shut her down without even speaking up. A singular look given to the blonde, which shut her up immediately. Stop! Just fucking stop it. Oh my god.
Stop it.
Look.
Get different fucking words. But the woman had shut her down without even speaking up, a singular look given to the blonde, which shut her up immediately. Do you know how fucking terrible your sentences sound? Jesus Christ. As her body shuddered below the dog faunus and the sudden hold on her collar increased to cut her air off, Blake Belladonna felt regret. She heard the hiss of the sadistic homosexual below her, forced to be the toy of the woman, a shiver going through her. Looking at the face of the traitor, she could see brown eyes looking down at her as the woman judged her with that gaze. Really? No, I thought she just fucking...
She judged her with the judge.
She judged her with a judge. I thought she I thought she ate pizza with her gaze. Her hips thrusting against her own, she barely felt the pain, as do I, anymore. As those eyes wished her pain and torment, it had been a bowl that she'd touched, but the woman had thought it important enough to brutalize her. I guess it's true, slaves own nothing. The clothes on their body were owned by the master, the food that they were fed by their masters was still a gift to keep their property in good shape. She felt shame as the blonde woman's fingers brushed through her scalp and she was kissed. A slimy tongue invaded her mouth and she knew that she couldn't bite down on it or she'd be killed. This was one of the mistresses and she was unkind. Okay.
Oh shit.
But if I can make a change, the words of the... I kinda want you to know I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking you to make a change, and no person could be any clearer. But if I can make a change, I can become Michael Jackson, and then the world will be a better place. The words of the 4 came back to her. If she could make a change. Her heart beat a little faster. She had once dreamed of a prince on a white horse, but that dream had faded long before. The master was not unkind, and... Oh, fuck. A touch of feather-like kisses, a hand grabbing her head and pressing it against his chest. Her moan giving an utterance of lust and craving, her fingers tracing over his skin. Her name was on his lips as she drove her hips down, a guttural groaning from her body. The bed was too big for her alone, yet together they could make it work. She mounted him again, her fingers touching over his cheeks, her eyes looking right down at him, a teasing smile on her lips, as she formed the words that she had spoken in her deepest heart, the truth of her feelings ever since she had ran into him in that room, words that had been spoken by her mother when she had met her father, when they had done that exploration of their love. Anybody here good with Chinese or Japanese, whatever that is?
I
Ai
ni shang yi shi.
Ching chong, ching ching, ding dong. He moved.
Bing chong a la bing bong.
Ching chong, chingity bing bing bong bong. He moved, pressing her down to his chest. It was a love that was forbidden, but she loved him nevertheless. It was just between her and him, and also 4 million other women. Fuck me.
It was
Nothing
a
else.
lot that loved the love.
Nothing else mattered to them, not even his sisters or his father and mother. It was just the two of them, just two people who had shared their care and devotion together. She wondered briefly what her father and mother would think of her if she ever had the chance to tell them. Oh, don't worry, that'll be soon enough. It had been so long ago since she had seen them, since she had been sent to this mansion and had learned wonderful things. She would be the one who would help him reach whatever goal he wished, because he was the man who owned her. It had been discussed at first, but the character of the man had won out. She loved him more than she loved her life, and that love was to be guarded. The White Fang was nothing compared to what she was. She had devoted herself to this man wholly, and not even the Ox could sway her with his rhetoric. Khan could rot with the White Fang for all she cared. She was happier than she had been before.
It's funny how, when you really think about what's going down, it's incredibly unfitting as she's getting anally raped to think about her grandfather, religious, or no, political theory. Like, you're getting raped and you're thinking of political theory. Get your head out of your fucking ass.
What, that's what you don't think about when you're getting sexually assaulted by a random person?
Also, I don't know. This person obviously doesn't fucking know Chinese. At least I don't fucking think, because I just translated.
Not.
I just translated that sentence. You know what it wanted? You want to know what it translates to?
No fucking idea.
Al, you are conscious. According to Google Translate, Ai ni yang shi, whatever yi shi translates to Al, you are conscious.
Could be the wrong kind of Chinese. There's 3 different fucking languages.
How many fucking...
Because there's traditional Chinese, Cantonese, Mandarin.
And Mandarin's the big bad one.
Mandarin? Let me see. Do they
Yeah,
have...
Mandarin. Learn from 4chan, don't learn Mandarin.
Yeah, don't bother learning Chinese at all, honestly. It ain't worth it.
Cantonese. No. Suayin. No. Whoopee.
Whoopee!
Whoopee. Kanji. No. If you guys want to fucking do some investigation to figure out what the fuck that means, it's fine.
I'm
Night
pretty
Corper.
sure it's supposed to mean I love you. or
Sounds like a night
something.
corper.
Probably. What the fuck is I love you in Chinese anyway? Let's fucking Chinese to English. If
Of
it's
course,
supposed,
it means poo.
if it's supposed to be I love you, let me see what that fucking translates to.
Unless it's actually destroy the white race.
No, that can't be, because fucking I love you is wo ani. Wo ani. Thank you, Google Translate. So that's nowhere near what that fucking means. It's probably some flowery bullshit.
Or I googled a phrase or a proverb.
If you want to do that, fine. The final vision had been one that she had not been expecting after all, to lay with the man as his loving partner, to feel his touch on her skin and enjoy it like her prince had come. Camilla had looked nauseous after that. Disgusted, I would too. Well, excuse me. Blake Belladonna, sandwiched between the sister of the man who owned her collar and the dog Faunus who was fucking her fine posterior, came. Shuddering and
Fine
hissing.
posterior. Fuck
Fine
off.
posterior. Oh.
If you're supposed to be sexy, choose better words than fine posterior. Just say
Also-
hot ass or something.
Also,
10
I'm
out
just
of 10 buttocks.
I'm just going to note this. This was originally supposed to be like a Nightshade fanfic, and yet John's sister has had sex with Blake more than he has. I'm not kidding.
I know, it's what makes it so much funnier.
Yep. Moaning like a needy woman in a drought that had been relieved by the release of desire. Wow, great sentence.
Rel-
The truth.
Release of desire.
Fucking Christ. Blake had faced the truth, and she had her eyes forced wide open. No, you haven't, because you won't learn your lesson for another 40 chapters. This is a fucking waste of time. Her heart yearned for the freedom that she had enjoyed once, yet her mind accepted the truth that said freedom would not come so easily. That it might be better to follow an example. I guess that if anyone was a traitor, her mind went to Adam and Sienna. The ox and the tiger, respectively. No, we didn't know that by now, thank you. Her face young and bright, listening to their words and their actions, the joy in killing, to strike back against the oppressors. Her father and mother turning away from her, to enter slavery with their heads held high, calling them traitors to the cause. I betrayed my family.
I'm gonna also peace out too. I'm starting to get a headache, actually.
Unsurprising, honestly.
Not because of this. I've been having a headache and I've been nursing it for a while, so I'm probably gonna go to bed.
Have you had any caffeine today?
No.
Do you usually have caffeine?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
I'll talk to you later.
See you,
Bye,
man.
guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah, he has like a weekly aneurysms.
Or migraine, I think you mean. If he
Yeah.
had weekly aneurysms, he would be dead.
His brain
That's about the
shuts
same.
itself off every week.
Jeez. I betrayed my family for what? A dream of revolution that ends with graves and hatred, and genocide and rape, and lots
All
of
sorts
stuff.
of fun stuff, honestly.
Yeah. She was the traitor! Oh! That was the bitterest truth that she had to face. She waited patiently, sitting on the bed, dressed in only the maid outfit. She waited for the master, as a good pet should. She hoped that they'd do fun things, that he had some reward in store for her. If the cat didn't act out, perhaps she'd let the cat kiss her. Also, remember when this was a Nightshade fanfic? No? Okay, thanks. There were things that two girls could do to a guy that paid for their services. She heard about it, though she'd not really had much experience of that sort. The Malkites would pay for their actions earlier. Who's the big-titted cow now, bitches? Let's see how you take to being a slave for once, like you should. The door opened and her master entered, followed by the crocodile faunus. She got up, smiling. If she had a tail, it would be wagging behind her, ready to show her happiness with her master. Master Jean! Yang. He spoke her name with happiness, and her heart just did a little leap. She watched as he came closer, fingers brushing over her outfit, her eyes looking solely into his own. Ash is here to observe. Camilla has to lie down. Her semblance is taxing on her mind, and, well, he smiled at her. She smiled back, her fingers touching his own, a spark of something inside her. I've been wanting to... He gave a low pause, looking into her eyes for the longest of moments, a smile on her lips that broadened by the second. Do things with you. Blake isn't obedient yet, but all will serve. The woman of the voice behind him drew her attention, the albino faunus looking at her. I will not let anyone harm you. Yang was of a like mind. This was her man, hers. Yang, you were a prostitute, so... She had been one, and he looked shy and somewhat hesitant. There was a heat in his cheeks, a hesitation in his eyes, as if he really cared for what she thought. No matter what, it was one simple thing, adorable. Can you act as if I'm a client? She smiled. He would never be a client. He'd be the man she had picked. A flirtatious smile, not forced like she always had to, as her fingers brushed over his chest slowly, her tongue licking over her lips. You want that quick fucking suck, don't you? A rougher, hoarser voice, right at that low level, like it was something... Right at that low level that it was like the rumbling growl of an engine, a finger brushing down, looking into his eyes. I'm just picturing that scene from Mad Max Fury Road with the guy with the flamethrower guitar. Fucking Christ. Oh, that movie's great. We should watch it sometime. Any of the Mad Max movies, really, but that movie's great. She was still dressed as a maid, but she knew that for the act to be done, her clothing would be off anyways. For you, anything. She was aware of the crocodile faunus taking a seat in the room, her eyes watching.
That's ever so slightly creepy.
Totally. Yang was aware, and her man was aware too of the woman's presence. Even though the woman did nothing, she could smell him as her fingers traced over his groin. She had been walking the streets only a week before, fearful of the woman who owned her collar going to amputate a finger or something. And now, Do you want the slow blow, mister? A little tugging of your pants
Wait,
down?
it's all within a fucking week?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep, because there's no sense of fucking time in this goddamn fanfic.
If all this fucking shit happened within a fucking week, I'd just tell them to kill them. They're not worth the effort.
No. It's fucking... Oh, I can't wait what's going to... Just wait until you see what happens by the end of the month. It's going to be fucking fantastic. Or do you want the slow blow, mister? A little tugging of your pants down and you hardening in this lowly faunus's slutty mouth.
A little tucky wucky?
A little tuggy wucky.
Little
Her voice...
fucky-wucky.
Her voice was a purr as her lips pressed against him. His scent was like a light in the darkness, a little blend of pheromones that told her that he felt good and that he was happy. Yeah, humans don't have pheromones. Fuck off.
What
When
the
she
hell?
closed her... We don't have pheromones. We have fucking sweat, and that's it. Don't...
That's what I mean. Where I'm like, what the hell is she referring to?
I don't know, because sweat isn't fucking the same goddamn thing as pheromones. Sweat...
I hope not, otherwise, ugh.
I was gonna say, apparently your sweat can smell slightly different depending on like what your diet is, and also I guess if you're like
Yeah, but
afraid
that's
or not.
pheromones.
That doesn't fucking let you know if somebody feels good and happy. The fuck?
That doesn't make women turn their heads like, ooh la la. It makes them go, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. Although apparently, do you think? Apparently, scientists think the reason that humans evolved to have what is it like what is the name for it? Like androgynous or whatever, you know, like secondary sweat glands, the type that only activate when you hit puberty, is they used to think the humans back when humans were like more wild animals or whatever, that used to like signal to mates or whatever, or like females. Anyway.
Yeah.
When she closed her eyes, he lit up like a warm sun in her vision, her eyes opening to behold his radiance. Vestigial, thank you. That's the word, vestigial trait. Fingers pushed down into the danger zone.
Ooh.
Grabbing the danger zone of that erect cock. Beautiful. Nice and hard. Gonna make this little faunus whore beg for that hard cock, mister. She shuddered, her antlers brushing against his chest. She moved her head back a little, only to feel him stop her. I'd like to... He stopped, flushed. He was inexperienced with soliciting a hooker. I fucking would hope so. Not rough like some of her previous clients. Buy your services, faunus. Such a formal tone. Wanna buy this little blonde tootsie dough services, eh? Her fingers were working on the zipper, the scent of his manhood already registering to her sensitive nose. It smelled of him. It smelled of seed and of need, and she wanted it. Yes. A domineering tone, something that he got when he was furious about something. She loved it when he commanded her. It felt safe and secure, and she knew that she could trust him. He would not betray her. He would not harm her. She knew people better than that. Afraid that the pussy's still out, mister. Cleaning job. She ain't got the permission to put it out for you. Her tongue teased over the outline of his underwear. The button was pulled loose. Tongue battling over the...
You sound like a goddamn orc.
I guess I'm done with this shit. That's why I'm fucking reading it that way.
Stupid.
Yes, this is the least sexy thing. This is giving me an anti-boner. Make my fucking dick fall off.
Again, it's interesting how she can write such childish dialogue, but when you need to be as primal as possible, aka sex, you're just the most interesting wording and just way too much talking.
Like even if you want to do like a kink, like a fucking like a fucking like scent kink or whatever, I don't know. Fucking the scent of that half seedy mixture of pheromones and nightly ejaculate was just something that was good for a faunus to get into the mood. It was something that set her ablaze. Even if you're going for like a scent kink, that's no.
I could pull up a fucking lewd caption for Scent King, and it'd be so much better because the author here just throws words at the screen.
Yes,
they don't think about what the fuck they're writing.
Because nothing is consistent, right? If you want sex, if you want it to be just like fucking primal and like base or whatever, then don't use words like mixture of pheromones or nightly ejaculate. Don't use shit like that because it just throws off your fucking tone, whatever your tone's supposed to be.
The fucking toad.
It makes it sound like she's gonna fucking, like, do a fucking prostate exam or something. I don't fucking know. Very
Your
well, then.
prostate will make a nightly coming.
Nightly coming. Very well, then. He sounded sad, as do I. She wanted it, but she didn't want him to catch anything. She was going to keep him safe. Dragging the underwear down to his ankles with her teeth, she felt the throb of the shaft as it bounced against her nose, the scent of her owner. You've already mentioned that 40 million times. Thank you. Of the man whose hands were restless, desiring to grab her by the horns and face fuck her or do something else. Anything to distract from the fact that she, a very attractive... something else, anything distract from the fact that she, a very attractive faunus, even if she said so herself with some pride,
was going to blow that dick harder than they'd blown up the walls of Vacuum
Dude.
during the Great War. I don't know what the fuck any of that means.
dude, from the beginning of dragging, that entire paragraph right there, that's an entire sentence.
I know.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Don't you worry with this bitch tamer. I'm sure that we can make it work. She was breathing heavily now, wanting to fucking kill herself, as I do. As she looked at it, her hands grabbed a hold of his testicles, feeling their weight. He shrank, aware that she just ripped another guy's balls off. A look on her face of regret. Yeah, it would be fucking...
Wait, she just did that?
No.
What the-
When she fucking did it to Adam or whatever his face is.
Like 2 previous chapters ago.
Yeah, this is
No,
like a
like,
couple...
he's
This is
talking
like
about like it just happened.
Well, this is a couple hours later, so...
Holy shit, what's the timeline for these chapters?
I don't fucking know.
The same evening?
There's... yeah, dude, I think from... I shit you not, I think from the beginning of the chapter or whatever, where they went out to the Faunus Management Bureau thing, or whatever... Okay, so here's the thing, right? From chapter, like, fucking 9, from chapter 9 or fucking 8, when he went out to go to Cardin's house, through the Faunus Management Bureau, through driving back to their house, this all happened in one day.
Yep.
Fuck off.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know how
Yep.
like skip entire months or like multiple weeks in my book between events because there's just nothing happening? Yeah, all of this is packed into one fucking day. How they can get that much done in 24 hours is insane to me. But
I don't
hey.
fucking know, because like from the beginning of this fanfic only took place like fucking 4 days ago. Maybe less than that, maybe 3. I haven't been I'm gonna start counting every time they fucking say like a night or whatever. If it's been a night, I'm gonna start counting. I think it's been 3. I'm gonna say this is 3 days now. Oh, okay, it's okay. Where the fuck am I? Oh yeah, being fucking a little fucking skittish about the fact she ripped the guy's balls off. I'm sorry, she whispered as he closed his eyes. It's fine, Yang. It was just... Her eyes looked up at him with a heavy look. As her hands rested themselves on his thighs, warmth and that desire mingled with the guilt that she felt. Guilt over what? Protecting him? I would do it again if he threatened you. Her voice spoke with a heat, a passion, a light touch to her horns going barely noticed. Thank God for water. You know what I need to do? I need to get some fucking yogurt, and that way that'll fucking...
Yogurt. Seriously?
No, yeah, seriously, man. Yogurt really fucking helps, like, with
Milk.
like a hoarse voice. Yeah, milk, yogurt, whatever.
Do
Could
them
go
both.
make I could go make a glass of milk right now if I wanted to. I'll do that later.
Freshly squeezed.
Ha 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 ha. I would do it again if he threatened you. Yeah, fucking think he would. He would not have the right to even look at you. You're my master. He's not worthy to look at you. She looked aghast at her words, or he, whatever, aware that someone had come behind her, touching her horn. The smell of the crocodile faunus was behind her. As the woman looked down at her, John smiled at her. Fucking use different pronouns. Jesus fucking Christ, dude, look at that. The smell of the crocodile faunus was behind her. As the woman looked down at her, John smiled at her. You don't know when to fucking tell who is speaking, and... fuck it. It's okay, she's being a good faunus. The woman fixed with a look that basically said, do not fuck this up, in as few words as possible. In a few words as clear as possible. She seated herself. Yang hadn't even heard the woman get up or had even dared to think about the woman. I'm touched that you would go that far. Father always says that Faunus are a disloyal bunch, always rebelling against their better authorities. Yeah, that's why you fucking give them no supervision at all and give them collars that don't even work. She wouldn't rebel. She would not rebel against the man who was hers. She was loyal. You don't have to fear me, Master. I want nothing but to make you feel happy. He smiled, sitting down in front of her as the crocodile moved away, no doubt watching her carefully. She looked at him, seeing that erection stand there. A smile on her lips as she knelt between his legs. She felt his body quiver as her lips wrapped around the head of his manhood. He looked at her, a slow suckle of that sensitive head, a spritz of pre-seed tingle along her tongue as she slowly let her tongue brush over that sensitive head. Yang, her master moaned as her tongue touched over that sensitive flesh. She was sensitive, all thanks to her. She pulled off her lips, breathing over that cock. She knew that he was relatively inexperienced, but to feel him there. Do you want to fuck this needy Faunus slut's face or make her gag on this big human dick of yours, Master? Her voice was heavier, needier. If he forced her down, she wouldn't resist. She wouldn't resist even if he felt like ravishing her. She knew her place. She knew what she had. And nobody would take it from her if she could help it. He was there for her, and she put her faith in him. Make a little Faunus slut spit shine those big balls full of seed. Want to pump this little venison slice full of your creamy hot man sauce. His eyes glinted, getting in the mood. He certainly seemed to like it as her tongue battered the underside. A low sound coming from her mouth. Yeah. His eyes were heavily lidded as they gazed at her, as her lips slided over the underside, a smidgen of saliva dripping down his cock. She let her eyes gaze over the shaft. The head a low purplish red color. His hand held her head, but he did not force her head down. Her lips sliding down, her nose gusting warmth breath over his shed zap a dooba dooba. A low moan as his cock stood erect. She loved that she was getting that reaction, her lips leaving that shaft. May I suck on those big coffee balls, Master? Your the little whore needs to feel them throb before she can try. She was tense, knowing that was a thing that he might not want. The light pat to her head, an acceptance of her question as her tongue reached out and seized one of the orbs, laughing at the sack as it lay there, his manhood resting against her face as she brushed her fingers over his thighs. I'm your personal whore, Master Jean. Her voice was softer as she spoke the truth freely and unprompted. His gaze was meeting his, a tender look in his eyes. As her tongue slowly slid over the testicles, the faint taste of saltiness not uncommon. What? Yet she minded it not. The tender look, those eyes looking at her as if she was the most important thing in the world, to feel the thick strand of pre-seed, the saliva dripping down her face as if marking her. That was what entranced her, a slow inhale as she blew out a hot gust of breath on his slickened sack, tongue sliding up and down over the flesh, her body tensing up as his hand ran through her hair. He seemed about to say something, but he paused, watching her carefully. She let her tongue dance over that soft flesh, the skin wrinkled in the base of his shaft notch with her tongue, letting him enjoy his Faunus's tongue, careful not to make him lose that feeling. Do you like that, your own personal little Faunus slut, at your beck and call to suck that big hard cock of yours, letting the other woman in the household know that a real animal is giving their little brother the best fucking suck of your days? Her dirty talk might need some work, but his manhood firmed up. Your dirty talk might need some fucking work. No fucking shit. But his manhood firmed up, the pulse of that head making a dollop of white seedy fluid drop down on her forehead, the smell of his pre-ejaculate sending a sensitive thrill through her. She was wet, aroused, her nipples poking through the fabric. Mine. I can't wait to make you feel what a real pussy is like.
Have you ever smelled somebody's pre-ejaculation?
No, because it really doesn't have a smell.
It's just fucking lubricant.
Yeah.
That's like smelling somebody's about to squirt.
I don't know. She has... fucking care. Her jealousy burned as the cat did not know what she was giving up by being an uppity little Faunus. The master had her first, after all. Her tongue left his balls as her fingers traced slowly down between his legs. Won't you make use of me, master? Won't you fuck me whenever you want? She asked as the burden of his manhood rested against him, her eyes half closed. Heavier breaths in little gaps as she inhaled that scent, her master's scent, a feeling of belonging. No matter what, she would remember the base smell of his masculinity straight from the root of his
base smell.
Oh, does that fucking rhyme? No matter what, she'd remember the space smell of his masculinity straight from the root of this fertility. No, that doesn't rhyme.
Almost.
I feel like that's the world's shittiest attempt at fucking rhyming it.
It's
Almost
a really
right.
crappy attempt, yeah.
Yeah. Won't you make me your whore? His hand grabbed her horns, her eyes widening as he pulled her head away. Rejection at this point? Has she said something wrong? Everything you said is wrong. Doubt and fear shot through her as he lightly pushed her away. Am I not good enough? You're my Yang. You will never be a whore for anyone. Aside from me, you belong to me.
That's exactly what she said, you dumbass.
Yeah, she inhaled once, her breath just stalled in her lungs as she looked into those ocean blue eyes looking into hers. The smile that broke out in her face was unable to be stopped as her gaze lowered respectively. She exhaled as the tears came to leak from couldn't stop crying. You're my, you're, you're mine too. I want you, master. That is, she'd spoken softly as he looked at her with that. I'm going to fucking murder you.
That look.
Stop! Fucking
The look
please.
that looked like a look.
I can't wait to see what Microsoft Word fucking makes of this. Holy shit. Collars did not matter. She was lost when she looked in those eyes and found herself again. She felt her heart burst out into something that might be fire dust explosions. The painful sensation of something that was greater than love searching for a way out. That's the shittiest fucking... Yes, we get it. Fucking Ruby has dust. You could just say her heart felt like bursting out of her chest or her heart wanted to explode. What is this fucking bullshit? She felt happiness even though it had been but a few days since she had met him. Like a day, 2 maybe. You're my faunus. She was his faunus, just as he was her human. You protected me. It's special when a faunus does that for her master. It wasn't, not to her. Her father had said that to protect something precious is to live a good... Oh god, to live a good life. Tara probably feels the same for Saffron. She's a good faunus. She's really nice, a good animal. She was an animal compared to him, but she would be his animal. She wanted to tell him that, but it was not proper. She could never be his wife, only be his faunus. She knew that, yet her heart yearned to be the woman that he would confide in, the woman who would be at his side, who would birth his children with a smile and a laugh that would fill the household. I'm your favorite, right? She asked because she doubted it. She didn't want to be second place to the cat because of the cat having been there first. The smile that bloomed onto her master's face is warm as always. Of course, I just wanted you to know that. His cheeks were a little red as his smile showed his teeth. That you're just pretending to be a whore. You're never going to walk the streets again as a whore. Thank you, Master Jean. He brushed his fingers over his horns. As her head slid down, her lips wrapping around the head of his cock, his eyes locked with his own, her teeth rubbing against the sensitive head.
Gender.
What?
You said slide down his horns.
His smile showed his teeth. He brushed his fingers over her horns as her head slid down, her lips wrapping around the head of his cock.
No, let me, motherfucker, let me finish this. Let me finish this part. There's a fucking line break coming up. We're almost there. I just need to fucking rush through this. Holy shit. Oh my god. Her tongue wrapped around the underside as she growled at him, his hands on her horn still. He held the power, and she would make sure that he came the hardest that he'd ever came before, and no matter what, she was still his faunus, and she could make him happy. Growl quivers of her tongue. Okay. Her master's voice groaning. He was speaking the high language, his tongue sleeping into it. High Gothic. As moans and little whimpers came from his throat, she breathed in his scent, her eyes never fully closing, her gaze watching for that moment. She raised her head, her tongue dripping saliva over that fat cockhead. The look on his face tense as his balls rose slowly within the sack, a tension that showed that he was close to that peak, her voice a breathy whisper. Master is going to come. As the master went his faunus to take a seat on her face. Do you want to make a messy little D-horror master person thing? She knew that he was primed and ready. His eyes closing for a moment as her breath tickled over that sensitive head. His hands pushed her head down by the horns, her lips wrapping around his cockhead. He was in control. He was allowed to do that. No other than him would be able to seize her head, as her pride was still her own. An explosive sigh from his lips signaled the end of this torment by her lips and fucking ours. Jesus Christ. As she felt the heat wash her throat as the thick globs of seed splattered against the walls of her throat, a whimper from his mouth, a few words uttered that she could not understand. His legs quivering and trembling as her throat worked and swallowed, he let go of her horns, and her head slowly slid up, essentially sliding her tongue over his cock. Her hair brushing over his thigh. She smelled of him, the scent of his seed almost clinging to her body, but swallowed it. You didn't get it on you. I know, fuck it. She looked at him, opening her mouth to show him her prize. The gooey seed slowly swished in her mouth. Swallow Yang. Her swallow was loud as he patted her head, a smile on his face. She had barely noticed it, but time had passed. I'd better get Blake, a sigh as he looked at her. I hope Saffron doesn't hurt her too much. She's a willful woman, and a degenerate one, too. I'll be with you again soon, my Yang. She smiled at him as she felt her hopes rise. He was a kind man, she knew. She liked to pleasure him. It ached at her that she couldn't show him how good she fucked compared to the others. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get some milk, haven't I?
Oh my.
Your turn now, motherfucker.
Yeah. Compared to the others. The crocodile faunus cleared her throat as the door shut, a hand suddenly grabbing her by the neck. A feeling of warmth invaded her suddenly as the semblance took a hold of her. She did not resist. She was not supposed to have aura. She knew that it would be the death for her if she showed it. What happened to you today? She froze up. What did the woman want to know? Did she want to know about the visit to the Winchester household, to the visit to Lady Camillia's place of employment? I do not know what you wish to know about today. Her mouth formed the words as the woman's face appeared above her. The aged, wrinkled face looking at her with a look that was serious, the eyes like dark pools of intrigue.
The look. Fuck me.
What of the four? Her eyes went wide as she realized that she'd scrubbed herself clean enough, but not enough to fool the senses of others. This wasn't something that could easily be talked about, but it was something that she knew she had to face. Well, the ox instigated a result. I terminated his bloodline. I made him into a man worthy of no respect. Any faunus hearing it would freak, as she had violated the sanctity of the four. She had went against everything that she had stood for, but the woman only gave a low humming sound. Willing to profane one of the four for the master. You are a slave, a faunus. You will never reach a level where you will be treated as an equal by the master. You are at most a pet, girl. You would best remember that. She lowered her gaze. She knew that it was a fancy dream, but she loved the young man. Who the fuck is texting me? She could not be honest about that love, or she would be punished. Slaves did not love their master. You'd think that, Machiavelli would be standard reading for these people.
Hey, listen, mate, listen. Do you think the degenerate that wrote this has ever even heard of Machiavelli?
I don't think Cap's heard of Machiavelli, so no.
Neither heard of him or even read him, so unsurprisingly.
God, I can't help but fucking laugh at how when I try to explain politics, like basic fucking political ideas to him, and he's like, but that makes no sense. Why would they do that? That would mean they're sacrificing people. Yes. Anyway.
It's almost like they don't care.
It's almost like they care more about re-election and power. Anyways, he will marry soon. Lady Fall will move into this house, so I've heard. The master of this family has decided upon it. Her lineage checks out, and the wealth is sufficient, I've heard.
Where the fuck are you? Hold on.
It will be a marriage that is to ensure that the family lasts. You will not be more than his slave when his wife does not do her duties. Yang snarled a bestial sound from her throat. She would not let the man suffer under that woman's touch, to die of some sort of poison to be taken from her whilst his children were used for her goals. I would kill her for trying to take the children of the master or to murder him in his sleep. I would rather die by the execution block for slaying a human woman in defense of my master than to let him breed with her and die. The crocodile's hand lifted her, and she suddenly felt herself being turned around, spun almost, her ankles bumping against the bed. A flat stare of her red eyes met her own. There was no amusement in those eyes. Those are some serious accusations. How did you know of that? Her lips moved as she told. They overheard conversation, the small bits that she hadn't fully managed to convey. The crocodile's face was bone white already, but the eyes that stared into hers carried a deadly intent. For a moment she felt as if she was but a mere doe faunus watching some sort of predatory. Crocodile faunus stared at her like she was fresh meat. That silly boy. Doesn't he know that he can trust? No, he wouldn't. He's just like his grandfather. That staunch, stubborn moron. He never saw the sense of doing things with others, even after I told him that it would be a bad decision. Yang looked at the woman, whose face had a frustrated expression upon its craggy, aged features. The woman's nose was raised slightly as her eyes gazed into hers. You are allowed private time with him. Consider it a reward for your good behavior. Her heart beat a little faster as her smile became broad. She knew that he cared for her as a good Faunus, even if he did not fully love her back, even if she was just an animal. The woman's fingertips touched her nose, her eyes going cross as she tried to focus on the fingertip touching her nose. Now it's gonna be touching her pussy instead, right? He is more precious to this world than you.
Wait, really? Did they fucking really write that? The woman's fingertip touched her nose? Oh, wow.
The
Holy
woman's
shit.
fingertip touched her nose, comma, her eyes going across as she tried
As
to
she
focus
fingers on the fingertip touching her nose. You just fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow.
Literally, just cut out half of that sentence and replace it with it.
Or just nothing.
Just it, and you convey the exact same meaning.
Yeah, as she tried to focus. Yeah, wow. Holy
Tried
shit.
to focus on it.
Holy shit, dick balls, Batman. Holy shit, dicking ball sacks, Batman.
He is more precious to this world than you, girl. You are only a lowborn Faunus slave, a whore that he plucked from the streets and took a fancy to. The woman's fingertip again, her throat seizing up. He is fascinated by you, so. The smile pulled to her lips as the finger slid between her eyes. Compared to the granddaughter of Belladonna, you hold yourself like a true Faunus. It is a pity. What the pity was, the woman didn't elaborate, but Yang could understand. For a wild-born Faunus who had no idea what the harshness of life in the kingdom was.
Keep going!
Like Belladonna was dumb. I started to yawn in the middle of it. It's so boring.
Motherfucker, I read more than half of this. Come on, you can fucking keep going.
She did not understand that she was blessed to still be able to speak, even if she was but a toy that spoke and had some sort of sentience for the people of this household. Yang knew that there was a security with the man who was her master, the man who she just sucked, and who was currently fetching the irreverent slave girl who did not know the whip's crack. I am who I am.
I would just like to know the fucking author literally just ripped a fucking line from God himself from the Book of Exodus.
Oh yeah.
The fucking Yang just quoted God.
Yeah, he just quoted God. Her voice was stronger as she stood up, forcing herself to stand tall. The woman wasn't much shorter than her, but age had made the woman look frail.
Yo, Lal, you ever watch the Prince of Egypt?
I will not stand aside to let the man I owe my life to be harmed by another.
Lal. Lal, bro, you ever watch the Prince of Egypt?
Oi, you're a nigger. Speak.
She died.
Maybe.
Well, rest in peace.
Maybe he's asleep. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care.
You ever watch the Prince of Egypt, Kitty? It's good.
No. The man who is to be my mate is a man who I owe my life, my love,
Alright,
and my strengths to.
Jesus Christ, I was asking you a question for like 5 minutes. I said, have you ever seen the Prince of Egypt?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a fucking great movie, and I prefer it over the, I think it's the Ten Commandments.
The yeah, no,
She was
that's
aware that
garbage.
The woman was
You
looking
should watch that
at her,
sometime.
and an approving grin came to the woman's face. A single pat to her head, similar to how Jean did it. She looked at the woman, whose face seemed to lose most of its wrathful manner. Good. Remember your place, girl. The woman reminded her as the door opened and Blake staggered in. Ash moved towards the girl, jerking her up by an arm. Jean looking at Ash with a look. No, he's gonna look at her with a dick. Do we have some cream for skin tears? She's not doing very great. Saffron and Tara tore her up a little. Oh my lord. The girl's face was pale and a little bloodied, the marks around her throat having been something that looked like strangulation marks from a leash. Yang for a moment didn't think that it would be worth having an acquaintance with Saffron Arc right now. Better you than me. I will go fetch something that looks like mostly superficial damage. Saffron knows not to go too far with her entertainment. It's been a few years since the last death.
What the fuck?
There was a warning tone in the woman's voice as the faunus looked at Blake, who looked at her master with her golden eyes pleading. There were whimpers coming from her lips, and he sighed. Yang could see that the man who owned her heart was already feeling that sympathy for a fellow slave. You are the one I picked, master. If that kind heart ever shatters, I will be the one. I will end the one who shattered it. Yang, get into bed with me after we're done with fixing Blake up. It was an order for the man as his pitying eyes beheld Blake, her eyes turning in her direction, regarding her with that strictness that she'd seen before. A smile split her features as she stood at attention, the uniform undoubtedly going to get dirtier as she watched him with caring eyes. He directed his gaze to Blake again, his voice filled with the autonomy towards the other slave. Yang is there to keep you contained, attempt to hurt me, and I will let her treat you like your ox was treated. Ha! She's stronger than you, and I trust her to do what she needs to. She smiled at him as she looked at the cat faunus. Blake, being as naked as the day she had been born, looked at the master, the two of them, with pleading eyes before she nodded quietly. Yang smiled and reached out, brushing a finger over the other faunus's cheek, much like the degenerate sister had done to herself before.
I love this next line.
Hurt my master, and I will hunt down your mother and father and kill them in front of you, before I've end your ability to conceive. She was serious, looking into those eyes and screamed defiance and blazed with indignation before yet were strangely subdued now. Yet were strangely subdued now is the correct way to do that. Her finger seized the
Using a comma correctly? No.
You know, we just put them after every fucking subconjugation and pretend that it's correct. She was serious, blah, blah, blah. Her finger seized the chin as she leaned down, her voice a low whisper. It fooled no one as she looked into those golden eyes. Don't think that you can sleep well, Black. Her lips parted, showing her worst smile, the one that her father called pretty darn wicked. Because the moments that I feel you are getting closer to the master as he sleeps, I will end you. A good faunus obeys the master. Lady Saffron just fucks you like the degenerate you are. The girl shuddered as she looked at her, and Yang wondered if she'd gone too far, but pressed on nevertheless, letting the girl feel her fingernail
incorrect.
The girl feel her fingernail press against the her delicate skin.
My question is, if the job of the faunus is to be
fuck puppies.
Well, yeah.
Fuck puppets, work in factory, work in fields, slave shit.
Yeah, analytical. Here's a story from my own experience. We had a puppy. It was a pretty good puppy. Just a normal dog. I can't remember the breed. It was from our grandfather, and his profession was to train dogs. And he gave us this puppy as a present. And we were like, oh, we love this dog, but he had a tendency to nibble. And at the time, we were like, oh yeah, this is kind of cute. He nibbles at stuff like you're supposed to do when you're a little small puppy and you don't know what's going on in the world. But he'll eventually grow out of it. He didn't. He kept nibbling and nibbling everyone and everything. And by the time that he had his gums, it started hurting when he nibbled. And then my father was like, he's not gonna bite anyone. He knows better than that. Same fucking day, he's playing Wii Sports, and the dog goes over and bites him in the fucking,
thigh.
Not the thigh, the,
forearm. Groin.
Yeah.
He bites his
Abdomen.
balls off.
Soul, that was it.
What?
Like
He
the
bites
sole
him.
of the foot.
Oh, he bit the foot.
Okay.
Oh, he didn't bite his soul off. Fuck off. And that day, that was the only thing it required for him to take him to the vet. That was all it took. A pet that doesn't know its place doesn't belong in a family. And imagine that, but added 10 times over with a fucking superiority complex, racism, and full-on jihadism.
I'm just going to spoil it now because I don't care. At some point in this fucking story, Blake's dad basically gives her a knife and tells her to kill John, and she fucking does. She stabs him multiple times in the throat. She's basically trying to fucking just completely cut his head off with this fucking shiv of broken glass. And he survives through the power of magical plot convenient bullshit. But the only thing that happens to Blake after that, after she's fucking stabbing him, trying to cut his head off in the throat, is she gets an arm cut off by the assailant or whatever that saves him. And her punishment is to be put in a cage, and that's it. Nobody ever does anything to her.
Man,
Nobody
talk
ever,
about stakes.
nobody ever kills her after that point. Nobody ever kills her. Nobody ever tortures her. She's just put in a cage, left alone, and forgot about.
I mean, that's a fate worse than death, arguably, but if you ask me, I'd rather
Small
just be killed.
consequences.
But yeah, no fucking consequences.
There's no consequences. The fucking early on, they're fucking threatening to her to fucking wipe out every faunus in the kingdom if she so much as like fucking insults them or fucks up. But if when she tries to actively fucking murder their son or whatever, no, they do nothing.
But yeah,
They
let's get this fucking finished instead of jabbering.
Fucking.
The girl
Fucking
shuddered as she
motherfucking
looked at
fuck.
her young Leonard fingernail pressed against her delicate skin. The master's word is our law, that we are faunus and we are slaves. You do not understand, you were not born into this life, but you will learn. A slow nod as she saw those eyes look into her own with a challenge in them. The girl was not broken in fully yet, but she would obey. Good, the master enjoys your fire. He deserved nothing but the best of the best in her eyes. As Blake had the cream applied to her nethers and her sphincter by Ash, the woman not being as gentle as she could be. The whimpers growing louder, she smiled a bit, brushing against her master and smelling his scent. I will be yours, master, even if it's not possible, I will be yours. She yearned for that hollow dream of marriage and children. Ha ha ha, you're never getting that, whore. To see the seed from the man grow into something great, yeah, that's never happening either. She had been lifted from the nightmare into the pleasant dream, and she wanted it so much. You deserve nothing. Have a good day.
You get nothing. Good day, sir. We're almost there, man. We're so fucking close.
Love is the greatest sacrifice for the person you wish to spend your life with. I see what you mean now, Dad. Stop thinking of your dad when you're trying to fuck a guy. He got into bed with her, Blake getting in the other end. The bed was big enough to fit 4 people comfortably with the soft sheets and pillows enough. Blake wearing some underwear so that the cream wouldn't smudge the bed, but though it would be cleaned and replaced again the next day. Fresh sheets for a new day as the schedule had dictated. Sleep well, Master Jean. I will instruct one of your sisters to keep watch just in case. Oh, Lord Almighty. The soft voice of the old faunus came as the woman slowly clicked the light switch off. Good night, Ash. I hope you have a good sleep as well. It was concern and care from the young man who owned her collar and her heart as she brushed herself against him, slowly nuzzling him. She felt his arm wrap around her and hold her. She turned around, facing the cat. She would keep watch for as long as she would. The cat faunus looking at her with half-closed eyes. I'm going to keep him safe throughout the night. Oh, Lord, I'm almost done. He felt Yang lie there next to him, her blonde hair loose on the pillow in front of him, her soft rear pressed against his own. She was so wonderful. That sucking she had given him had been magnificent. He'd embarrassed himself by letting go and murmuring the words in the high speech that should not be uttered towards a faunus, but that he had felt had been amazing. You are amazing, Yang. She was a faunus, he knew, and she was just a faunus who he should use when he wanted to get off, like other people did who had the lien to spare for their own personal faunus. But she felt more than that to him. Taking a drink. His hard cock brushed between her buttocks, his breath tickling past her ear. She slowly wiggled her rump, a throb of his manhood in response. He could almost imagine growing old with her, to have her with him forever as the woman that he loved, but that was not done. If you were human...
That was not done? That's a very... fact.
It's a bad statement. It's a bad sentence. Let's continue. If you were human, he kissed her neck. The skin was soft and she smelled good. His hips bumping against her behind. A soft, breathy laugh coming from her lips as he held her in a little closer. You should sleep, master. A good rest is important. He should. The door opened and he heard the light steps of Juniper enter, her weapon undoubtedly already in her hand. He got up somewhat, Yang shifting a little to allow him as Juniper sat herself down on the comfortable chair, her eyes catching
Fuck, earlier I was
darkness.
watching The Prince of
She
Egypt.
smiled at him, mouthing the words slowly. She wants me to talk to her. He's not even wearing pants.
Oh, there we go.
He got up from the bed, only wearing some underwear.
Oh.
Exactly, he's not even wearing pants. Her eyes looking at him, her body smelling like alcohol. She'd been drinking again, just as Camellia did when she was stressed. Hey, Junie. She smiled at him and then got up slowly. Hey, Blondie. How's your day gone by, huh? She was a little groggy, but the hug that he gave her was reciprocated because she was just a little drunk. It would be okay.
Just a little.
Just a fair pinch drunk.
Just a wee bit
Cammy's
drunk.
workplace. Yang did something good. She castrated a man. Juniper's eyes were a little unfocused as the slow exhale made her hold on a little tighter. Her fingers are hurting him a little. She's a good one. So, I want to point something out right now that I've just thought of. We skipped back in time again. We went up to the thing, the lab, or the Fauna's Bureau thing.
After
mansion.
they visited Cardin, yeah.
Then they went back to the mansion. They go to the next day and they're having breakfast. He's having breakfast with his sisters. And he asks if the mother's coming home soon. And they're like, no. Is it about Lady and he mentions, fucking Rui. And
Oh
he's
yeah,
like,
you're
"Oh,
right.
yeah."
This is the day after. Yeah, sorry.
But then it goes back in time again. Because now it's the same day as before.
Wait, what?
We visited Cammy's workplace. Yang did something good, and that's Juniper asking about his day today. So we went forward in time and now back in time.
Let me go to the previous chapter. Hold on. Blah 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 blah.
It's so great to have a timeline of events where you can barely keep up with what the fuck is happening.
I don't fucking understand this.
You know, his big problem I see. Not only is this badly written, that's one thing. I can take a badly written story and enjoy it. The problem I see is that it has nothing to offer a normal, healthy thinking individual. If you're into the sex, there are so much better stuff out there. So much. If you're not into the stuff and you're actually reading this, how the fuck is any of this interesting to you? You can't even keep up with where the fuck everyone is.
I don't even know what day it is.
Hold on. No, Kitty, I just checked the fucking, like, the breakfast thing or whatever you thought was the last chapter. That was dinner last chapter, not breakfast. So.
How long
okay,
are these days then? What
I don't
the
fucking.
fuck?
Okay, let me start counting. So fucking chapter 13, chapter 12, Okay, so from chapter 11 is the beginning of the day where they go out to Cardin. Then they do the FMB shit at 12 and 13. At 12 and 13, I think. And then they fucking go back to their house, and then they have dinner, and then all this shit happens. And so just now is becoming the next day.
They have so much time for torture and fucking. I don't understand it. I barely have time to work and play some games in my day. How they can get all this fucking in is beyond me.
I don't know.
It's a lot of vacation, okay? But even you can achieve it.
Look, man, I'm not a quick shot, so maybe it's just me. But like, these have got to be like 4 or 5 second encounters. Can't be much longer than that, man.
Even though it describes Saffron as like fucking somebody for like hours, no.
Oh yeah,
No.
That was also a fucking thing. What?
Like I said, despite this being a Nightshade fanfic, despite it's supposed to be between John and Blake, Blake has been fucked more by his sister than he has. So
It's got to be like 1 in the morning at this point.
it has to either 1 in the morning or 12 a.m. or 12 p.m.
At that point,
12?
it's not today. It was yesterday. So still.
I don't fucking know.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Let's just continue. My mind is breaking. She's a good one. Juniper mumbled, getting back into her seat. I'll watch them. make sure that they don't. Her eyes were tired, and he saw her nod off slowly. You poor thing. With some difficulty, he picked her up, put her into the bed next to Yang, his sister's arms wrapping around Yang and the soft snores coming from her lips, as Yang just seemed to freeze up from the cool fingers, his sister out like a light. Oh boy, you always get tired after drinking, Junie. He got in behind her. Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy.
I know where this is going. It was just
Nah,
like
don't
when he
worry,
was
no
younger,
incest yet.
and they'd all been together without fuss at work, and some of his sisters did. Juniper's snores were the loudest as she slept. Ruby, please forgive me for what I'm going to ask your mother to marry you. If the status of the Fall and the Rose family was still equal, then he would.
Oh, you figured out the twist. Oh, congratulations.
It was been obvious since like chapter 4 when she was introduced.
You mean he's not going to ask Ruby to marry him? He's going to ask Ruby's mom to marry him? Oh, you figured out the twist.
No,
Oh, congratulations. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh.
It would be for the best, even if Ruby would hate him for even thinking about it, but he had no choice. She was his best friend, and he didn't want to change that. Just marry her.
That's a
dumb
twisted
cunt.
fucking way of thinking about it. Alright, so I don't want to fuck you because then our relationship's gonna change and I don't want to lose a friend. Therefore, I'm just gonna fuck your mom so I can fuck you in spirit.
You know what the saying is? You marry your best friend. That's what the saying is, and it's the saying. That's the saying for a good fucking reason.
I was gonna say you should see the justifications that he uses for marrying Ruby's mom instead of her. It's great. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's so
Because
stupid.
because in this story, fucking what's his face, fucking Ty or whatever. In this story, Ty is a faunus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would that make Ruby?
A bastard because she doesn't have faunus traits?
Kind of, yeah, but she'd be half faunus or whatever, technically, even though they never mention her having any faunus traits, which...
That's what I mean. Then it's not Ty's kid.
It means that she was born out of wedlock. She's a
Yeah.
bastard.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Ruby's mom was never married though in this story, so it definitely implies that she definitely
Yeah,
is
so
Ty's kid.
So Ruby's a fucking Oh no.
Ruby's
she
a
is-
honest bastard.
I was gonna say Ruby is Ty's kid or whatever. It just they never explain why she doesn't have like a faunus trait. If it's hidden or if it was cut off at birth or whatever, I don't fucking know.
Whatever that was about, Yang looked a little uneasy at the mercy of the woman's grip. His hand
Also,
brushing
I just
through her
have to
hair.
point out as well that they do the fucking medical screening things to
Wait,
check
why are
if
you
you
back?
do have genetics. I don't know.
Go the fuck back to sleep.
Can't sleep. Fuck it. I'll fucking finish this shit.
I'm
But yeah,
almost
I was
done.
pointing out as well that they also do the fucking medical checks to make sure that you don't have any faunus DNA and stuff in you, so they would fucking find it even if you did cut off the
I was gonna say
physical things.
he does bring that up or whatever. He does bring up the fact that she's like a bastard child or whatever, and he does know that like Ty is her fucking. I don't know. Ty is her father or whatever, so she should be a faunus, but yet her medical bullshit says that she's not a faunus genetically, so I don't know how the fuck that works.
She's a mutant. She's a fucking abhuman. Anyway, he raised a little from the bed, Jennifer mumbling something about wanting cookies. Yeah, I read that. She was just a fun slave. She was just his pet, but he would like to imagine for a brief moment that she was his lover, his girlfriend, and the woman who made him experience such joy and such lust. It was a thought that should not be, but... Wait, what if they do the faunus things as like in fucking the Elder Scrolls, where you just take the mother's race?
No, that's not how it works.
That would make more sense.
That's not how it works though.
Because that would make sense as to why the fucking faunus ended up not taking any humans to breed themselves. And that would explain why Ruby looks like her mother rather than having a faunus trait. But that's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
So it's just a
Then
plot
why-
hole that could be easily fixed by going back and thinking, okay, let's change this a little bit.
You're thinking about a plot hole that revolves not only around this story but in the fucking show as well. So don't even bother with it.
Fuck. She was just a faunus slave. She was just his pet, but he would like to imagine for a brief moment that she was his lover, his girlfriend, the woman who made him experience such joy and such lust. It was a thought that should not be, but if only things were different. Aw, dwanks, I need more dwanks.
I need more drinks. I do too.
A woman after my own heart. Juniper groaned, turning around and hugging him. His breath cut off as she started to squeeze tightly, pausing for a moment, and then trying to lick his neck. He'd forgotten about this little habit of hers, but it was fairly innocent by all standards. The twins were horrible sleepers, that just crawled on top of you and then laid there like dead weights, not moving until they felt like moving. He'd suffered through that more than once. Sleep well, big sis. He whispered in her ear, and she giggled, a soft whisper of, "Oink."
Nigger.
Jesus fucking Christ, you're gonna get me banned.
I'm so sorry.
Coming from her lips as she pushed herself against him. He trusted Yang to keep Blake away. She was his fondness after all. Tomorrow he would bring his best friend and her mother to his home. He'd do what was the right thing. Cinderfall would not marry him to get his children or bastards and make him a corpse. Ruby, I'm sorry for what I'm going to do, but it's for the best. Father won't deny the match, nor would Mother Harry never want to spring something like this on you. His sister mumbled something about blueberry muffins, licking his neck enthusiastically for some reason. It was a really odd reaction from her, but he'd seen her fight whilst half sober before. Her instincts still there. She was a good huntress who loved him as a big sister should love her younger brother, even with the distresses that she'd stuck him in at times when Saffron wanted to try dress up with him. Implying that little boys have problems getting to dresses. His dreams were filled with laughter from a beautiful blonde and the soft fading memories of what could have been once upon a time, a smile on the little blonde doe's lips and the warmth that he felt when she was around. He liked his good pet. He didn't want her to go away. She was what he'd hoped to find in his wife when he was married. Yeah, fat fucking chance of ever finding that anyways.
You have to read the author's note.
Yep.
Another chapter. Woo! The rewrite of this chapter took 6 tries. What?
This took you 6 tries. Kill yourself immediately.
What?
What?
Wow.
My first drafts are good enough to publish after a quick edit, check for grammar and spelling.
Wow.
What the?
God, I would love
Shit, dick.
for one of these to be fucking completely done in the Elmo voice. It would just be so terrible, but awesome at the same time.
I didn't think of Elmo. I thought of Jamalime.
They're smart too, Maything and Yang being mouthy, but I've got something special in store for the next few chapters, since the next one will feature the start of the morning upon which the matriarch of the family and the last 2 sisters return home, accompanied by Lady Rose and her daughter Ruby Rose.
At least he's consistent in his fucking lack of punctuation.
Ruby Rose makes her grand entrance. You might all have some idea how that is going to play out. Leave a comment because I like reading your thoughts on how the story is going. Ah!
Can I read the comments, please? Please.
The scream at the end fits so well.
Please, can I read the comments, please?
Let's go through these fucking comments.
Okay.
This story just keeps getting better.
No. I said I want to read them, please.
You can read some.
This story just keeps getting better. Oh, come on. I'm pretty sure that we've had more sex parts between Saffron and Blake than we had with John and Blake. You are correct, commenter. Thank you. I wish we had more John and Blake moments, and I also wish Saffron would stop touching what belongs to John. So, I guess the evil thing John is going to do to Ruby that he keeps on talking about is forcing her into marriage. Like, going behind her back to Summer and asking her, since John can't really forward to rejected by Ruby herself. Though he's going the political route. I do wonder why Ash seems so hostile to Yang, though. I mean, yeah, Yang is kind of getting full of herself and probably wants more than she can ever have. But she's also been on perfect behavior this entire time. I mean, I understand keeping up her guard since John is so stuffed, but still. It would be pretty funny if Yang broke terror instead. Damn. Ash and Cammy just dropped those truth bombs on Blake. They're a scary combination when you think about it. Also, John may not want to imagine it, but I bet Ash has gotten some arc loving from at least one of his ancestors. It was nice to learn more of how things went down and get some hints as to why Blake's grandpa did what he did. Also, it's interesting to see that it's a known faunus based on more mythological, mythical creatures exist, and that there seemed to be some sort of prejudice there. Explains why Yang is keeping that a secret. Blake's realization was well done. The contrast between where she is and what she's done, it was all very good. Blah blah. Kudos. Fucking looking forward to see where Blake goes. She goes nowhere. Also looking forward to see Ruby and Summer again. I'm looking forward to see how them meeting Yang goes. Yeah, spring on the roses. And then a purely brilliant man whose comment isn't here but will be soon, named Dr. Mobius. I don't know who that could be. Just saying, I want to die.
I'm just gonna point out.
I couldn't
This
live without
is
that.
fucking. Okay, let's talk.
You were about to say stupid, weren't you?
It's so fucking ridiculous. It's lacking in substance. It's lacking in good tone. It doesn't have any reason to be the way that it is. And yet it is. It just is. And I don't know why.
I don't know why.
For the love of
It's
God.
because garbage things exist to be garbage and make everything else horrible, because they just do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why people like this exist in the world, because their only contribution is making everything worse for everyone else.
Yeah, and if you would please, I got a certain thing. Oh yeah, you already, oh no, that was Kyria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
And it's-
down in the VC posting. I just posted a simple, very simple version of the most basic shit you need to do to get eroticism right, and this story just fails at it.
You know what's fucking crazy is that, like, it's not hard to fix the fucking gaping plot holes in Ruby, and this person seems to be trying to fix them by mostly just ignoring them and focusing on characters, or trying to focus on characters, which I'd be fine with. Like, don't focus on the fucking plot and setting, because that shit is retarded. Just focus on the characters, right, and try to make it a character study. But he can't even fucking it can't even do that correctly, and that's just fucking sad.
The he, she, it. Just call it a thing. You
The
don't need to
thing.
humanize it.
Yeah, the thing can't do it correctly, and that's just fucking sad. Because honestly,
God,
you fucking
I fucking love. I'm debating heavily to joining this dude's or whatever this thing's Discord is, and just I'm just being like, yeah, were you doing a dramatic reading of your your story?
Yeah,
Check this out, and I just suffered a link to Kitty's fucking thing. Then
I hope-
immediately leave after telling that person, like, I hope you enjoy it.
I hope someone does that. Fucking hope so.
Honestly, if they get told and they actually watch it, it might improve their writing, because they'll realize, holy shit, people actually have proper, valid criticisms. And they're not sitting there just shitting on it for the sake of shitting on it. They're like,
No,
there's
I mean,
things you can do good. Like, I'll give it
Yes.
credit. I'll give it credit with one thing. It does have the odd cute moment in it. The very rare, it's like, okay, that's kind of cute. That's a cute interaction. These characters seem kind of human, and then it just goes back into abject horribleness.
and honestly, like, honestly, this if the author just did two things, right? Number one, improve their grammar, stop like using the same fucking sentences,
Yes.
like looked and enough and shit like that, like fucking spice up your words, make it different, right? If that was number one, and number two is stop repeating the same goddamn plot points. If you just did those two things, not only would it be easier for you, because this story would probably be half its current length or whatever, so you would have to write less, but it would also actually not be terrible. It would be interesting, you know?
What also needs to be done is the plot needs to be better paced, because everything's happening way too quickly.
And it's not only is it happening way too quickly, like I said, it's also fucking confusing, because the same plot points keep coming up and repeating, which like messes with your sense of time even more,
It's
you know?
confusing. Things pop up over and over again, and it's too quick,
And
but it's also too slow.
And that's a
With all these interactions, why, after 14 chapters, has nothing changed with fucking Blake? Nothing.
Because
dude. I was
it's
just
only
about
been
to
like a
point
week.
that- I was just about to point that out as well. It's 56 chapters over 10,000 or fucking like
800.
how many fucking
No,
words?
880,000, I think, words.
880,000 words,
57
and nothing fucking happens.
Happens.
It's so fucking tedious and slow, but it's so fucking long. You'd think something would happen.
Yes, dude, in 57 chapters, the longest time skip we get, I think, is like 2 weeks. That's the longest time skip we get.
There's
Jesus
one point
fucking
in my
Christ.
book where I skip a full month and a half. Because what are my characters going to do in that month and a half? One's going through physiotherapy, and the other is running around hunting small game because he has no equipment to go.
But you know what?
After
You know what? No, it's not even 2 weeks. It's a fucking week. A week is the biggest time skip we get in this fucking fanfic.
Like, why are we sitting here, sitting through them having sex every fucking day when it's the exact same thing happening every fucking time? Time skips are a thing in fiction. You can use them. Nobody's gonna look down on you for it. You literally just start the next chapter and you make a comment at the start. Oh yeah, it's 2 weeks in the future or whatever. And now suddenly he can fuck Yang's pussy, and wow, there's changes in their interactions. It's been what, 4 fucking days, and she loves him. She's gone full fucking yandere for him.
In 4 days.
That's not how interactions work. Period.
But you know what's fucking hilarious? I keep seeing people make that fucking point or whatever later on, because even his fans or what fans he did have are getting fucking annoyed, and he's like, the fucking faunus make no sense, and his fucking response is, well, the faunus aren't human, guys. They think differently to how humans do.
Fuck you.
Fuck
Even
off.
if they do, they're not gonna become they're not instant mates.
You see, no. You see, Kitty, the faunus are much more in touch with their emotions. They're much more emotional-based creatures.
Then why
Yeah,
are they
you want to
so
know a story
emotionally
that did that
fucked?
exact same? You want to know a story that did that exact same fucking thing better? Mass Effect. BioWare wrote the fucking Asari.
Mass Effect is fucking crap too.
Characters are good.
Characters
Yeah,
are good, but
I'm talking about the
stupid.
character stuff and the. Yeah, I'm talking about the character stuff. But yeah, like,
no
people can write fucking good shit with that, because think of it ostensively. The faunus are basically just humans with animal traits, and sometimes they have
They're
animal
fucking
proclivities
cat
or
girls or bunny girls or fox girls or whatever the fuck else you want to have them as. You don't have to make them special from human beings, and you don't have to
because
make them actually tangibly different from humans for there to be some level of bigotry or oppression going on there.
Yeah, because it's also into the fact too that experience-wise, they're still sentient creatures. They still exist on the same planet. I could just understand it a little bit that they'd have a different viewpoint if they evolved and, came from another fucking world, another planet or some shit. They would have different, structure and, how they view things, but they're still fucking on remnant.
You're way overcomplicating things with this.
Yeah.
People are gonna have different viewpoints even in the same country, even in the same city, even in the same neighborhood. They're gonna have completely diametrically opposed worldviews.
Stop breathing in your mic, please.
The reality is, you don't need to have this... Look, this is the problem with X-Men. The problem with X-Men is that humans are 100% justified in oppressing mutants. 100%. You know why? Because one mutant that's too powerful can destroy the entire fucking planet. And if you keep that in mind, you realize, yeah, we have a good reason to keep them oppressed and held down under our boot. Because if we don't, and one of them goes berserk, we're all fucked. Them included.
And it's also in the fact that that's been proven several times to have already happened.
Because they've done it several times.
Yeah,
Magneto
they've already proven
doesn't.
that they've done the exact same thing.
So, that's the exact problem here. Humans have every fucking reason to keep the faunus down under their boot. Not only because the faunus are more physically powerful than them, but also because the faunus have shown that they're as bad, if not worse, than humans. Humans
They are worse.
Have some level of
They're
fucking
literal
strength.
jihadis.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna act like a
outright genocide the faunus.
if you're gonna act like a wild animal, why should we treat you like a human being if you're gonna act like a fucking wild animal,
Look, that's the greatest irony of this story. The human being they act like humans are so fucking bad. Meanwhile, the humans are trying to find any reason not to kill the faunus that they can, and are holding back from it as much as possible, and are being forced to do it anyways.
Also, later on, it makes it very clear that the faunus were the ones who started the war, and they started it for, like, really it wasn't for, like, rights, it was for very petty reasons, I think.
Yeah, it's also the thing that, you know, they freely, without a care in the world, butcher people, and sometimes I think
them.
even it's yeah, they fucking eat people.
Also, the faunus would regularly send in, like, child soldiers or whatever to fight battles to, like, shock the humans or whatever. And at some other point, they captured, like, the human commanders or whatever, John's, like, grandfather. They captured his son, hauled him up on a cross, and then just proceeded to torture him in front of the humans for, like, several days.
So they Jesus his grandfather.
They Jesus his grandfather's, one of his grandfather's sons, yeah, basically.
That's hilarious.
Just to try to demoralize them, yeah.
And the ironic thing is that wouldn't demoralize people. That would make
No,
them
it
even
That
angrier.
would
would make them
anger them.
really pissed off.
You know,
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
That
funny.
would
That's
just
the exact same
galvanize us
thing that
to
happened
war.
in that just happened in Fallout New Vegas when you go out of fucking Novak and you go over the fucking hill. They have the fucking Legion there that were crucifying the soldiers and like torturing them in front of earshot, and the one dude's like super pissed off. He wants to go down there and fucking murder them
Murder all of them, yeah.
And then after you fucking have Boone in your squad too, he's just like,
We're
we're the second we come over that horizon, I'm popping any fucking Legionnaire I see.
Yeah. That's
fucking
not a
love
problem,
that.
that's a solution. Damn right, you and I, just a couple of problem solvers.
I
But, like-
fucking love Boone. He was my favorite character.
But like, that's the thing with this. They do all this shit to act like the humans are bad, and like it's over the top, it's torture porn. No, the faunus just make it so that it's fucking justified, and that humans have no other choice.
Yep.
What are they
Somehow.
gonna do other than torture them to try and keep them under their boots and docile? Fucking.
I was gonna
Kill
say
them
you
all?
tried. I was gonna say you tried to exile them to another continent, and they just came back and tried to murder you again.
Yeah, they fucking smuggled themselves and tried to fucking invade you. It's like, great. Fucking great. We gave you your own place to live, and you just attacked us anyways, wanting more reparations.
God, it just fucking reminds me of, I think it was first video or second video where we were talking about that, where we said everyone in the story is evil and bad. The humans suck, the faunus suck, everyone sucks. Nobody's a fucking protagonist. Nobody's likable enough to be a protagonist. You just fucking hate all of them.
I don't
You
even
could
need my
not care.
protagonist to be likable. I don't need anyone to be likable. I just need someone to be fucking interesting.
You need to
Nobody's
yeah.
interesting here.
No.
Yeah, I don't need them to be good people, I need them to be interesting. And to an extent, what makes a character interesting to me is me actually liking their personality. Like, you can be an evil person, but if you have a very, you have a personality that's very easy to get on your side. So to
Well,
speak.
therein
Like, they're
lies.
charismatic.
I was gonna say therein lies the problem, Kitty, because everybody's personality in the story is, in the case of like fucking Camilla, Yang, Blake, they're all extremely one note. Yang wants to fuck John. She loves John. That is her entire character. Blake hates John. She wants to murder all the humans. That is her entire character. Camilla was raped as a child and fucking brutally, tortured or whatever by the faunus. So now she hates all faunus and wants to control them. That's her. Honestly, she has the most interesting character somehow. I don't know how, but
They don't
that's
have
her character.
personalities, they have archetypes.
Archetypes. And then John doesn't have a personality. He's just a fucking brick.
He's the protagonist. He's the basic bitch protagonist.
Dude, he
the
does
one
not
who's
have.
supposed to be a vehicle for the character to get off
Dude.
vicariously.
Dude, he is not. He doesn't have a character. Do you know what his character is? He's nice. That's his whole
job
character.
is to be there for the reader to get off vicariously.
Yeah,
He is the stand-in for the reader.
he does not. He does
That's
not
why
have
I
a
never
character. He's
liked
just
him.
nice.
John is the perfect character to allow me to understand why I hate self-insert characters, because they are not interesting, they don't have good arcs, they are just there for people to project themselves upon them,
Hmm.
and they are usually the most asinine people in the fucking story.
I was gonna
It
say
just-
it's not like it can't
it's-
be. It's not like it can't be done though, because I have seen some stories where people actually do interesting shit with him. It's just it's fucking they never do. They never do
The
it.
problem is that it's supposed to be a self-insert in this story, and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not even.
Yeah, like you can
The
take
problem
you
with
can take
self-inserts-
basically essentially a featureless, emotionless, and just like robotic character and make a good story out of them. Like take this for instance. This is just off the top of my head. A story about a robot. It's an android. It doesn't actually function in any way other than it's programmed, but slowly it starts adapting to new things and learning, but it still doesn't change its monotone voice, its basic problem solving and stuff. But it somehow manages to break off and do its own thing and slowly discover itself, but it still retains that
You wouldn't
it's
be able to have
basically
any
like
level of length with it because there's no character intrigue.
Isn't that
Yeah,
the whole
but-
point of Baymax?
Yeah, I
think
think
so,
it was
yeah.
like, yeah, that was basically the whole thing with Baymax and stuff. It was a character that it didn't have any actual character to himself. He basically played off other people interacting with how he interacted with the world.
Well, yeah, that's why you have other people though. That's the same thing with the Iron Giant. Is you have the fucking Iron Giant playing off the kid or whatever, and the kid has personality and he's trying to teach it. You know, if you just had the Iron Giant and nothing else, yeah, it would be fucking boring because there'd be no character to it.
Yeah,
Here's the
but
thing
that
about-
also the protagonist you can argue is the Iron Giant. He's the titular character, but he's nothing without something to play off of. But even though he himself does not have like personality and traits and stuff, he needs another character to
The Iron Giant
emulate
isn't
that
a
stuff.
character. He's an object.
But you get what I'm trying to say, right?
That's sad, Kitty. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but I'm sitting there thinking about it now, and I'm like, the Iron Giant isn't really a character; it's a plot device.
He's a weapon. He's purely plot devicey.
His job
But-
is to be there and create a conflict.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, doesn't he's the one who has an arc though, not the kid, right? He has a fucking character arc in the movie.
The kid has a
Yeah.
character arc. The sleazeball dude has a character arc too.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the Iron Giant has a character arc too. How can an object have a character arc?
Yeah, he has a character arc because he's playing off the other characters, the other protagonist.
He
But it's
starts
still
off
a
as
good
not
way
a
of the-
character, just an object.
Well, yeah,
and
no,
ends
no,
up
he starts
becoming a
off. Yeah,
character. That's the
yeah,
movie.
he starts off as an object and becomes a character. I'll agree with you on that. So-
Yeah, that's different from he is just an object. I can agree. He starts as an object, becomes a character.
I mean, fuck,
Or-
when we
or
first
the
when we
reverse.
first see him, all we see him is him just trying to eat fucking metal on a fucking railroad track. So yeah,
But
just an
anyways,
object.
I want to make a point about self-insert characters. You can
Yeah.
have a self-insert character that is very interesting and very well handled, but you have to have an interesting world that the character actually reacts and adapts to.
Yeah.
So you can have a character who's a self-insert and say they get isekai'd into a fantasy world.
Courier 6.
If they get isekai'd into a fantasy world, and that world is horrible, brutal, it is a realistic, so to speak, depiction of fantasy. Like, people have magic to heal and shit, but, you know, you have to have a wandering sorcerer, and their rates are incredibly high, so most people don't have any access to medicine, and monsters are plaguing the landscape everywhere. You know, a normal fucking person from the 21st century gets plopped into that kind of setting, they're fucked. They are completely fucked. And you can have a fascinating character study of what's essentially a normal person, as insert for the reader, going through and experiencing this from a very visceral perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the intrigue of the story. That's the arc of the characters. You don't have all this bullshit of, oh, well, now he has a harem, and he's actually got a cheat power that makes him the most powerful, and his job is to kill the Demon King. No, he's just a mook.
Fuck, you can even do a fucking self-insert if you just want to make smut or whatever. You can do a self-insert because nobody at that point will care. It's just smut. But if it's fucking badly written smut that tries to be something more than just smut, is when you have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like think of all of these fucking novels and shit when you go down to the fucking store and stuff, and they had that big hunky dude on the fucking thing, the fucking
Yeah, they're universally
romance or
garbage.
whatever kind of.
Yeah.
That fucking shit that's meant for fucking women to read. Yeah, at least they know what they're fucking trying to do and staying in their lane on that. They're not trying to make a fucking fantastical story where it's a
Yeah.
fucking bridging. Like they're trying to go for a fucking
With political
3-novel
intrigue.
yeah, political intrigue and shit, and they're like trying to not go through a fucking 3-novel series or some shit. They know what they're doing. Like it's boring, it's stupid. At
They
least
know
to
what
us.
they're doing, though.
Yeah, but they know what they're fucking doing, and at least they can somewhat write.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was gonna say I'm sure they have fucking better grammar than this. Oh fuck! That's what I was supposed to do. I was gonna copy and paste it and put it into Microsoft Word. I knew I was
see all
forgetting
the
something.
fucking
Shit.
problems with that. Like,
What'd you say?
see all the problems with that. Like with the story. But like the biggest problem.
And it's
It
also
really is.
they're putting in stuff that
It's chapter
like
14.
like think of it this way too. The author is trying to like for this, they're trying to make it's supposed to be a smut story, right?
Oh boy.
Yes.
But then you got shit like the fucking torture, the mutilation,
They got the torture
fucking
porn,
horse
the-
raping the chicks to death.
All
And,
sorts
like,
of shit that doesn't have
If
to
you
be
get
in there.
off to that kind of shit, then you've got a fucking like you're
Problem.
a fucking demented person. You might need
Even
to fucking
if you
seek
got
help.
off to that stuff, there are so much other better stories that implement that way better and actually make it interesting.
Literally just go on
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
hentai, you'll find all you want.
It's why people hated 50 Shades when it came to film, because if you want a bondage, there are so much better stuff that actually does it well. If you're interested in story, you're not going to get into with 50 Shades.
The reason why
how do you
50
get the...
Shades of Grey ended up popping off the way that did is because it was bondage that was palatable for normies who aren't
Yeah,
into
it's-
kinky shit.
how do you fucking... Isn't there a way in Microsoft Word to check, like, overall, the overall number of errors or whatever?
I wouldn't be sure. I haven't used Word in like 5 years.
Yeah, hold on. Let me fucking
Not
look
since
that up online.
No, not 5 years. 3 years now. Not since I graduated high school.
But yeah, it's just fuck, man. Like none of this is fucking interesting to me. I don't think any of this shit's sexy or cool
No.
or interesting.
This is like
The only thing that-
anti-boner fuel.
Yeah, literally.
I kind of wish they would stop with the smut entirely and just focus on like the normal human interactions. Ignore all the slave dynamics, cut out all the fucking fondness entirely, and just focus on the characters talking with each other. Because they're sure you have the weird fucking language and you have the messed up structures and shit, but you can there are interesting moments in there. There are cute moments in there. Like it's the spark of something that could be good.
Yeah,
it's
or just like
completely
drop the
wasted.
smut. Or less just drop the smut except for certain parts where it's actually crucial to the story for like, you know, oh, they just can't control themselves and they just get on with it. And then go back to actually trying to build on the story and the fucking world you're trying to tell. Because
Like-
shoehorning all of that together is just like throwing a whole bunch of different fruit into a blender and hoping the end result tastes good.
Look, I'll even admit, the dinner scene, that was kind of well written. I didn't find any problems with it. It was short, it got what it needed to do, it showed a relationship between the characters. Yeah, it introduced the twins, who will never end up being brought up again, and
Oh no, they get brought up again, just not the way you'd think that they would get brought up again, and it doesn't
it
end
doesn't
well.
matter. But, like, it brings up all this. It brings up a few things that don't need to be brought up or be included, but it does what it has to do, and you know this scene has purpose. It shows what Jean wants to do. It helps inform a little bit of his character and the characters of his sisters, how he interacts with them, outside of the whole "oh, we're dealing with our slaves" context. It's dare I say a good scene.
Dare I be so debased and unred pill as to say it is a well-written scene?
Cap, stop breathing into your fucking microphone, please.
Clearly,
Oh.
this
Well,
guy
it probably
fucking
was the winds
standing-
outside.
Sorry.
Yeah, the reason why
sorry.
that happens is because I
Noise
have a
shit.
fucking, Yeah, because I have a fucking thing that's right next to my fucking mouth.
Hmm.
And if I turn down the fucking sensitivity, then it'll fuck Discord up, and then you guys won't be able to fucking hear me.
Or you just move the arm.
I do, but sometimes I fucking forget.
Listen, Daenerys just forgot about Dagon's fleet.
Okay,
So
so
just
here
forgot
we
about all the innocent people in the city.
go. I put this entire chapter into Microsoft Word, and remember, this Microsoft Word probably isn't even getting most of the fucking problems because of the weird format the fucking person uses. The Microsoft is suggesting making 274 total changes, with fucking half of that being spelling and about half of it being grammar. A bunch of them for vocabulary, a bunch of them for punctuation, a shit ton of them for concisiveness, which is hilarious coming from Microsoft Word, and then a shit ton of them for formality. And this is Microsoft Word saying this.
100,000 words over
Yep.
over a year and a half.
What, roughly 284 errors per fucking chapter times 27, that's what? 284 times times fucking 57 is 16,000.
Oh, Lord Almighty!
Jesus fucking Christ!
And this person says they have a fucking editor.
And you know what's great is
188.
is almost all of the fucking changes Microsoft is suggesting is fucking getting rid of commas and misspelling words and also other shit like that.
You know, I don't even use Word. I have to catch all my errors directly because my word processor just isn't that great.
Oh, there's another thing that always pissed us off. The fucking overuse of an ellipsis.
Hmm.
God.
At least Kitty made it interesting somewhat using the finger guns, especially with the voice he gave the character, because you just fucking imagine Jean, like a fucking smooth-talking used car salesman doing the finger guns click-click thing when he's trying to fucking bullshit you on buying a fucking car. At least that was interesting, but still, holy shit, he had to do that a lot.
It was constant. It was everywhere. They use way too many ellipses. Look, you can use a dash and have the same fucking effect for half these ellipses you have. You want a short pause, you don't use ellipses, you use a dash. And that'll get you well enough. Or if you want to trail off or have a character that's cut off, use the fucking dash. And you'll get the same fucking effect. You don't need to use ellipses all the time. And honestly, if you have ellipses everywhere, it means that your dialogue is too samey.
It's also into the fact, too, that overuse of ellipses, a lot of people don't even know what the fuck you're supposed to use an ellipses for, apparently.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, nobody fucking knows what the semicolon's for.
Is grammar really that hard nowadays, though? Because with
Yes.
how many fucking... I was gonna say, with how many fucking... No, I'm not saying... I'm saying, like, this level of grammar, right? Because with how many fucking free gramming, like, fucking grammar checker programs are out there, how do you fuck this up this badly? You know?
I mean, you've got...
By
like,
actively
Grammarly or
avoiding it.
whatever, but, like, I think that, yes, it is genuinely this difficult for people, because people do not learn how to write in school.
You don't even have to learn how to write. Just put it into a fucking program, and the fucking program will tell you what you're fucking doing wrong, and then you fix it.
The program isn't sophisticated enough to find and correct literally all the errors.
Well, no, but it would certainly help you get on the fucking right
and
track.
I'm betting that this person doesn't even... If they don't have an editor, let's be clear.
If
They
they
do not
fucking...
have an editor.
I have an editor, guys.
I don't believe that they have an editor. There's no fucking way they have an editor. But let's say that they do. It's clear that neither of them uses even fucking Word to spell check.
No.
They're probably writing this on Notepad.
Which is amazing. Just fucking utterly amazing.
Or
Can't even
Tumblr.
can't even be bothered to use fucking Microsoft Word, the most basic bitch program ever, and can't
And you
even
know
be
what?
bothered to use
You
it.
know what makes me think that they're writing this on Notepad?
The way it's spaced.
The
Like in-
length of lines.
You might be right. Yeah.
Also,
'Cause,
doesn't
like-
Notepad default to the exact same, I think it's, what is this? Times New Roman?
Yeah, cause like look at your fucking monitor. Like my monitor isn't very wide, but I look at my monitor like the fucking monitor, like 3/4, no, not even 3/4, like 2/3 of my monitor isn't being used. It's all like really narrow right in the middle.
Oh, the narrowness is just the formatting of the site. What
Huh.
I'm talking about is how long these lines are, the typeset that's used. Because, like, it'll end at a really weird point where there's more than enough space for the next word, but it shifts to the next line anyways.
Also, I put this chapter was 12,000
me
words. I put it into a free online grammar checking program, and I've been waiting for the past 5 minutes. It's still working on it.
Remind me again. What's the default for
Word. That's
yeah.
11. The font size is 11.
No. Not Microsoft Word. Notepad. That's Times New Roman, right?
It's Times New Roman 11, yeah.
What is it for
Okay.
Microsoft Word? Caliper?
It's
Calibra.
Calibri.
Calibri, yeah, body.
Yeah. So
Calibri
isn't this
body
written in
type.
Times New Roman?
Is it?
I can take a chunk, it'll mean...
I think it is.
Paste... It is not. It is Lucida Sans Unicoded.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. Let me see what this looks
Yeah,
like. I want to see what
what's
this looks like.
fucking-
It goes in
what
fucking-
Times. It's a what?
It's a what?
It's a Unicode font version of Lucida Sans.
It's a Calibri heading that's word 11.
Yeah.
I want to see what
Yeah.
this would look like if I put it in a fucking Times New Roman.
For reference, I always use
Oh my god,
Eccentric
that looks even
Gothic.
more disgusting. Shit, holy fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not Times New Roman, it's,
I'm actually thankful it's not Times New Roman. That hurts my eyes.
Yeah, there's a reason why I only use it for fucking titles.
Eccentric Gothic I really like because it's well, it's not disgusting to look at like a Comic Sans,
You know what
and it's also another.
You know
it's
that
also
Comic
not
Sans
based-
is just designed to be easy to read.
Yeah, if I recall, Comic Sans
it's
was
not
made to be a
papyrus.
lot easier on the eyes and easier to follow and read because it's a lot curvier and less spiky.
Yep.
Like I said, at least it's not Papyrus. Papyrus, the thinking man's Comic Sans.
Let me see what Papyrus looks like. I don't even know what that looks like.
Do you not know what that
Yeah,
looks
but-
like? It's what the
Yeah,
title of
see?
Avatar was in. Have you ever seen the movie Avatar with the giant blue cat?
You ever played Undertale?
Oh yeah, fucking Papyrus. Basically
yeah,
the
talked
fucking.
in Papyrus.
It's
Yeah,
basically the
it's
fucking.
Papyrus.
Yeah, it's basically the fucking. This looks ancient kind of fucking one.
Yeah.
Just gives you that fucking look of it looks so ancient and mystical and stuff.
Though I do like the fact that they talk in Papyrus and Sans, like Comic Sans. I found that really clever because of this. Like having two characters. I like it. Good detail. Stuff I can appreciate after the fact. But yeah.
Yeah, Papyrus is basically just fucking pretentious douchebag font.
I mean, that's the eccentric Gothic, yes. Then again.
That's most fonts, to be honest.
But then again, how do you characterize a font? Like, how do you personalize a font?
Is
Yeah,
it
Century
Cambria?
Gothic. That Century Gothic looks fucking normal. It looks like the fucking thing I read in everything. It looks
Is-
completely basic and normal.
Is your font Cambria? If yes, it is fine. If no, it is not fine. The end.
You know what? I'm not gonna even attempt to fucking spell check this entire thing because it's gonna try to kill itself. I'm just gonna do the first paragraph.
800,000 words.
Yeah. Let's see. What if I do a deep
This
check
person
on
has
this?
a work output that is ridiculously high.
I'm pretty sure if this person isn't fucking their My Little Pony stuffing animal, then they're probably writing and not even like bathing, just shitting in a shit bucket.
Grammarly has detected plagiarism. Okay, thank you, Grammarly.
Oh, I want to know where this plagiarism is from then.
Yeah, I'm not fucking getting Grammarly though. I'm not fucking downloading it onto my fucking computer. Grammarly has detected plagiarism. Thanks, Grammarly, you fucking ninny. What about writer.com? Zero issues? Well, obviously I'm doing something wrong.
If you're going through Broken Fangs with it and it's saying 0 issues, yeah, that fucking site's got more than a few issues of its own.
What the fuck? Okay,
I
somebody
just kind
give me a wrong sentence.
What?
I wish to see you when I look at you.
I wish to see you when I need to see you.
So, Courier, I have a question. Out of all of these fanfics that you fucking delved into, how many were actually well written and good and interesting?
That
And
is
not
a-
just the one where it was literally fucking this dude. Like, which one was it? Where it was the title?
taking the
The
piss.
title was. Yeah, it was literally just taking the piss. Which one was that again?
To be fair, a lot of the ones I fucking have seen or read or whatever is just the fucking author taking the piss, and that's hilarious. Let me fucking think. Are we talking fanfics in general or just Ruby fanfics?
Ruby fanfics. I think it was the one where I go in and kill General Ironwood before the authors could.
Yeah, that was fucking great. Let's see, actual good. I mean, depends on what your definition of good is. I mean, fucking anything
At
looks
least it
good
isn't-
compared to this.
It is good enough to read that you wouldn't be fucking deep throating a shotgun like you usually are.
Oh, okay. In terms of me not deep throating a shotgun, I'd probably say The Men from Onyx, which is a Halo